Top on the list of the initiates was the eldest son of the Esama of Benin and former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakare Igbenedion. 11 of his siblings, namely Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osemwige Igbenedion, Peter Osawari Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osamuyi Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osarene Igbenedion, Efosa Douglas Igbenedion, Ukponwa Enes Igbenedion, Osawe Igbenedion, Edosa Igbenedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbenedion, Agbong Steve Igbenedion, as well as the Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Ugbeide Nwonse. It was a vital aspect of Okada community's cultural heritage, which emphasized the significance of age, responsibility, and community service. Over 50 notable sons of Okada were also initiated. According to tradition and customs, those initiated, dressed in white traditional attire, were made to undergo some rituals, while the Odionwe pronounces blessings on them and assisted them to take a seat with the elders.
Waya bota now. Ugi bota we say niwa. Na ya fere bahabe uza no gbera. Magwa ka ehun. Mana terun wa dole wo na yi. Salubano la o ma ya fe na niru na ma la o da o wo wa ri ma o we ewo idun ni ma ye ewo ni ma na niru eni ma niru je no Salubala no ge ase ni ma ya fe oba to pe se eni wa de na ma la ma agwa kan ihe wo ihe bi ha kinewo wo kine owa ni ma ye ihe sabana gihe mu Maria iru ni manano ya na ogbo egwa ye be na de na ore wa go teme Victor Bizugbe
de na wo wa de na wo zamu ya bi total afika pa ti wo wa ni wa gbe okuto ni wa dan he emi na kan gbo hu da na tere ma ahin na yi re
were awon ero we ya awe mi we ya lode oba atope
ise ore wa teme pastor Hunamuri
ibi edunogu me wa bi ni he kai ofun ibo so aba go yaro wa bi dan ho o sa obo egi ma mi okun yen we gbe o
ise
oba atope
ise ihe me o sa obo se je no ye o no ri edo ba yo ka o do ya fe na be o ka gbo ri o ya fe me we jo tu wa ya o sa ba no la no mo ku yen ri ne edo ya fe oba atope
ise
etan ni ga ihe ibi no ki imae oni ebote course ema na tie no bio na tie newo na guven o na tamo ya tie yo benwe na wo we ni wo na ya tie yo ihe ni oria ni ihe dole mi yi so pa we ke ni na dole mi yi uda wo emu he yi ni no ma ye yo boka ohajo ma ri rai ohajo ma mu odo le yi won ere
akabo
kini na do le yi ni we ya ri e ni no nya mo na ri won ihe ni ogbo wa ni ni wa otewe Victor Bizugbe ihe oye no manora na tie ye wo no ra
ihe na tie ye wo ugbe won ne ban na we ihe agbada no mo neva no o ga gbewo bo na o gbewo bo no pa so pa ihe no mo ye gbevio ihe keke be bo o pa yan kin ti aju fi kian ebi ga sono ma uti hen yo waru da gu ti hen ye mi no ya no mi ya ye mi we emi ni o bo mo abe he ero emi no ogwe ukaka boy bodaye ihe o wa nwe na no bun ma mi we ewo no ma he ewi na ye no de omo na dagme do won no roto temi na ati hen yo o gwa ma na he ona ye no uligi aro to tonu na ati hen yo ewo na ayeke ihe awe muladian we e won na we na wo na ga hie na ga hi usi na ga temu ni giro to ason ya ro afan ya ro do wo bi ama se ti awe amu yo ma be obo ati hen yo e ba ni hen na so agbo ma dole mi iyi so pon awon no we na ga gien agi vio emi nu we u ne abebi kunuru we ugo re no usi egburuwa ayamu here okeki oho ema ihe ni are ologo owo ago mi oyi ni aye temtem ni awulo popo hu ni ihe na tie me hin ayo ro ya ra na ya ko kin ani ogbin ani
o si
oba to pe
ise ma yibu wedi o te pastor ihe me we zebe ohun Salubua ebi no mu me we ya gwani ihe no na te Bible ihe no so ero gbesonia a record a view gunda dia be owe e Bible wa ohun ye fe ba pe ya gi ogbeso muda edigun opa wuwe e Bible ihe no e Bible no ote
domono wa talk me edono pe wo won tare magwa kana no da e ma na oyi ihe ke we oriaki na mie bi ihe ke oho na tie repercussion no ye ologoma no le lo kokia no da wa nyise afia gbele lehia wa wo iyen le lehia e ba no salo bana ka bu we bi no wa we iyen ye yoto aro ke bu we zokba eri afia gbe we roto afia gbe ke biye we zokba wa we miye umiye wa we mierun ebi afia gbe u be mi afia gbe bere ri mata ba be bi no wa o salo bo ayagbona ye onwe iye ilele ya fe no na te 10 commandment no ile ori gbe ni no ro iye ora okike thou shall not kill ugagi kill ne oni uriye abiye okike ema we no ti meka e ba no ka we emi na ko aro ayiso emi wa akoro e ma yo bo ma ko aro wa kini ete egbo ma odeno do zori egbo ma wa lelu obo ni oyiwe na ge benu ta e ba ge no tolo ma gbe
na te
irepe wa fi gbogbo una firi eso o mana kan ya tun mu won irepe oreba o be bon nyawe obo na ebe tolo we be bo ege mi sunu da we o sika muene eriye mi iyeki o eze po ye ne gbe fi we ken we bo we tolo ano we ya tolo nu ya ewu egbe ya ne inwina rene egbe ya tolo wa ne o wa ni ye ma eveil e ameve la ko wa ye ga so agripa so be na irepe ya ba e ya gon saman ye egbe ne eriye mi iyeki wega wene ni ozetigari eniyan emo okeke ema nu da iye tosio makoto iye oyoma mita iye ogbo madine yimi iye osiologo mayo ma egbe dopa emi opa no gire egbe yen e ma ni bunro emi we lagbera ni o ba ege mi yen no muda osa opa je mi fe newe ewe ugawe urai uriene ewona ugawe uriene be no be aye we be no wa ege ne ke na gbotion ege ebe ye na bom egbo a ona wo mo pa ma de yin unda era ro wa yero wa ye gi kia osalo wo dua no dege ne bro pa ma ri egbe la na ona tie ege eke ogi gba odu ona we ha ona we no sa oba tie we ona we boni akinu wo we mi ya ona wo tun wo no pe na tie ebe ogun yo maka gba o ebe yo maka be ri e oboje o e dado okin oge ìyẹn ní ọgbogbo èrí ebe ìyẹn náà rẹ ọsọ wọn ọ̀nà wẹ yàwọ̀ ẹ̀ka bẹ lọ́dọ̀ pa ọ̀nà wẹ wá wẹ ẹ̀wọ̀n yẹn máa mẹ́rin nìyẹn wẹ ọ̀nà wọ̀ mma ìyẹn wẹ nìyẹn ká máa náà wẹ ìyẹn ènú bàbá ìyẹn dé nù àdùzà ọ̀nà wẹ ẹ̀sàgìọ̀ tún ẹ̀ nùtọ̀ mìíràn ọ̀víẹ̀ bùnyẹn rà dé nẹ ọ̀nà wẹ ìyẹn tá màá ọ̀nà wẹ èrè ló àkìyàn ọ̀nà wẹ ǹda èrè àkpòrú ẹ̀dín lọ́wọ́ ọ̀nà wẹ ìyẹn rọ̀ ẹ̀dá gbọ̀n nẹ nọrịrị mi ọkị afịrị gbegbo ya ọwa uwe la ma wa ma be la wo wa usa me no ma nwa ma be nwa me no ko bo were ona ti ra di ne aba we gbe mi ade ke de afie de na na unda ori yen ne usa no godu ati ne wa gbo ma u ya ya zero u gbe emufua u gbe emufi eze o we ga o ma mi no dere we iye ni de ora logo ma ni emi ese ezo oba atokpe
anyway what that matter wani gbama wadan matana wano gbera gbiye wadan matana u vara ko o yue akara ni yue abio u gbama ni awe no gbama we wa u ya ari azen igo u make na fi u make na bowa u make na hin moto ihe ni hi o wa no nyami nu we ya ri o be tin enwe ihe ma mo ebedo awe bo yaro awe bo ni na ya meti ya bege no yo amu wa we aya tie bo na yo we no fi aye okwa he isago eya bo ya fe ni redo ima awe bo ni no mi ke na no yo amu wa no so kwa no wo ko we nu mana ze da ya we bo una tie keka tie ni ọsọwanigbe ihe ni ọsọwani ọsọwigbe ihe ọmụmiria ihe ọma egenede enumawe nagbuhu ọgẹdẹmuyotọ oze ka yebe ụmụnyaa ekeni nuweze yoni ihe nọ ọma we na wana mọwedeni ihe ni gbe ọkike ekpe ọka egwu sokwa na yena ihe anyị lele ọweke arụ ihe nọ emenuweta na tinye n'ọma ọma na ruo ọdawe ihe ni ọ lele sekinori asị ihe ni nwa ịma hụ na mie mgbeso wee ịma ni gba oge ma ni aghe tinye ni ma wa mie na yena na ni ya zere wee wene ọba ma ihe ni awe ejo wee awe kagele ta ihe ya vi he so pa kagele so ihe tie kwaro awo ni ihe ni efe ihe ni efe bu vene inu aru odo fie worie ye la toma gwebo teleyi awe no don we wo pa ihin to ori ye fi epo benu we be hin ma se we no ma ko se de ye gba o ma da ro ba o ma da ro wo we o la toma be wa vi osisi ai agun ahon ai mi ai ko kuli akwa webo so po we wo ni o we bo he aye ekere ni ga vi ese ebobo wede ebode na aduwa edolo pe mo da we emi ni he oyin mata na we ma no mari he o te me disugbe ihe
ma me na wa gwa na ihe na wa ha na asubo ye gbe ihe oyere no ha mo ma gbe ye fi igbera wu nebuche SSS odawe yinuge ewe huda emanso ware ewo owi atuba gbebo mu eyeliwe ni ari uto ya atubero wa mu ogbe ori wa ogakian so pon be ni amana arawe ya amana adu oyi huda we etiguwe ara mewe ya mawe ropo na gbin abere o gbe na baya ogi asin de mi he yasin kaka ni gbuyan yen ya ti hen mara gele ewe na ni mari o ya yi na o ya ti hen yo mami ihe ona be mu eyo we negi o ma iwe eri gbera ekenu pe ise o to na we 50 by 100 we go pa wa o ma be ero wa uya mu 100 by 100 or 150 uya mu no nya nu we fi obo yi ni se ti go esin hu digo ego ebi no kan ya ki eke ori he o ti he no ori oni no kan abe ho no gwa lo ma no wa be mi ku ni e kan si eyo wa we ga ri ti ogwa lo mi ami e wo won gbege awe no de o ze po yo kokko ni kuluku gbodo akun egbemu okun egbemu nu we ihe ni oroyo egbene oga ze pe yen do kin o kan adu adowe ya ere ma na te o ze pe awe ye ti ladan wo wa hu da be ku no ru ihe oyo egbene o ma ko ma no we mi no ma ai be okeka we be no aye awe me ne ga ya bo won adowe na yimia ara yimia abese ti be ki he wuri egbe ba edo yimia yo ne bowe no re be no nwa ewe u ya confess why make a confessional statement ya mi eko masalobua osalobua yabo we eri o be ye o ma no rewe mi ihe na oyo wa ni la egbe ne ona do mi ekwe ona ki ewuri egbe bo awe se ha o we fo egbere hu do ni o ke ni ma yo bo wo we ya le ni he ma ke ni ma de ye gbegbe hu da e na ye gbevio igbano le gbewi o ma ko wa no ga we sarieti ni o ma wu ya ri awo o wu ya dole wo yi etinari enu we ni we na ya dole wo yi ihe wa esike edugboru we ye ara owo mo na wa be mi ku una fi aito una ari ya webo ewe ri ropa so pon o wa ni na fi gbogbo yi do ne ra o na samo ogo ba meze awe ho kekan we ri on gbe igun ma o gbe kekan ihe ka anọ gbe ọba atọ pere
ihe magwaka ni wa weno da himana we fiobo you gbido urie ni eso na owu e urie ge owu we mu la wa uduro mu ya no wa no nya na aso a o ya ri amani wa we everybody uda ihe ofian utome ọ̀nà ti sọ mí pí yẹ à gbèsò ọ̀hún wọ ọ̀wọ́ kígbèsè yẹ à gbèsò ọ̀wọ́n ìmàlìbù yẹn wà á pa máka wíwé yẹn gbélé yẹn o bọ́tí ní ìbò wọ́ yẹn fi ọ̀bọ yìí dò ìyàwó ìrìnà má kéke ẹ̀ẹ́dùn náà ìyẹ ìrìnà èmi hìn ẹ̀yà náà mi wẹ̀ níwọ̀n ẹ̀rẹ̀nẹ́dẹ̀ ká sùnú yọ̀ fìyà sùnú yọ̀ fọ̀ ẹ̀ bá sùnú yẹ̀ bọ̀ níbù tí ẹ yára mú ẹ námi ẹwẹ ọmọ máa rò họ wà gẹlẹ ya tí ẹ ní yèmí ọmọ náà wé mi ní ìyẹn náà fẹ́ wọ́n wárọ̀ wọ́n yí màá nẹ́dọ̀ máa rí okò ayàbí yẹn wọ́n ní ìmàlìwé mẹ́ àwòrán mẹ́yà wọ́n fi yẹn gbèsò ọwọ́ kò náà ọwọ́ ẹ̀ ọ̀fíwọ́ yọ̀ ha ọwọ́ yẹn má fi wọ̀ yọ̀ ha ẹ̀wọ̀ ẹ̀dọ̀ fi yẹn ẹ̀sọ̀ wọ̀ yẹn gẹlẹ́ fi wọ̀ yọ̀ ha àwìdò wẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ la mi wẹ̀ èmi ni ma ọmọ nù wa fúnda ọmọ ìnùbẹ̀ kí ẹ ládìá ilé nọ́nyà wà nọ́nyà kò wẹ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ àwà àhó ni ọ̀rọ̀ àwà ìyẹn nọ ni wọn ẹ̀ mi ò wẹ̀ ọ̀sẹ̀ yẹ wẹ̀ tó bú wọn náà wò kọ́ àfihàn ọ̀nà fi wẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀nà fi hàn tọ́ mi nẹ́gìn àbá rẹ̀ dàgbé ya ìyẹn ẹ̀ máa ẹ̀ rìnrìn sí kẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀ rìnrìn sí kẹgbẹ́ sọpá wo bọ́ọ̀rọ̀ èrè ní káàtà sí ihe ọ̀dọ̀ lè ní yí ẹgbẹ́ ní rí à ẹgbẹ́ wo rí à wẹ ẹwẹ ọ̀rọ̀ náà wẹ̀ náà lèmi náà wà dùn ẹ́ gbèsè wèsè wẹ̀gẹ̀ náà dẹ̀ ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́ kòkò owó wa wà lú ẹ èmi náà rí à ọ̀kẹ́ pọ̀ lọ. òtẹ́ ẹ̀ka ó wà azíbá ó wà dèkókò ó dèkùn ẹ̀wòtẹ́ ẹ̀ka àwọ̀ ẹ̀yìn náà iye sọ̀rọ̀ lọ àyẹ̀wò ẹ̀ bá fà ọmọ ìmọ̀ náà sí ẹ̀ ne dade wo radio na ma me e mama ni o me no si e na na mi we iya ilu e ele na te lo uhi awa ihe e lohi thou shall not kill thou shall not steal ye ra ye gbodo yi o ke bible ni re tala ni wa ihe e no udadu hi ne dado ele le bewo ke na le court ke na le wo wa ke na le awerima ke na ege baba ho emi nu na ema una we won ni ugbe me na agbeyo oro so pon ri yen ugu emi ame yen ni ma o so bo no mi ma fa no mi emo ni ma be afa wo te awa ke yen o tan e paso
domo ona na e bone no wa iwe do wa mi na ya na de sino kan me yen ìyẹn mi nà wọ́n ká máa yan wíkí mi rà náà máa yẹ gbó zẹ́bù wọn náà gbọ́n bí ẹ dó pàtàkì nù wẹ̀kí náà yé mi nà mẹ́ mọ́ àwẹ́ kọ́ wọ́n ẹ wẹ èmi kémi náà àgbọ̀n náà nẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́ ẹ̀rọ wà wẹ̀ mí ẹ̀sì ẹ̀rọ wà wẹ̀ mí dà ẹ̀rọ ẹ̀mí yẹn náà èso rọ̀ náà tiẹ̀ ọ̀sánwó do ayagbọ̀n ọ̀nà yẹ yùn ẹ̀ erun òun àfihàn gbé ọ̀nà bẹ jẹ́ ju wọ́n ìyẹn nuwe kenu nyime kó nyime nuwu nyi òkèkè ọ̀lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ni wà nyi sẹ́ àfihàn gbé bùwẹ́ dé wà bẹ nyọ́gẹ́ dán wọ́n tẹ ìyẹn ni ọ̀bẹ bọ̀ wà dé ọ̀sálọ́bọ̀ ata yìí ebi náà wọ́n àwìn yẹn jẹ́ yóò tọ̀ àrọ́ kẹ̀wù ọ̀wẹ̀ zọ́pá yẹn bẹ yìí yóò tọ̀ àfihàn gbé kẹ̀wù yẹn wẹ̀ zọ́pá nuda emi noma kɔ ɔrɔ iye sɔrɔ na tie nɔma wawe esɔrɔ na ya bu agbɔn to agbɔn ɔrɔ uwawɛ uyegbe viɔ esɔ yiye ya bu ɛbo bene rima ta ɛba ayimɔko wɛ gbó ayimɔko wɛ zɛ ayimɔko wɛ gaba bi yeso iye nɔ eme sɔrɔ na mi kɔ akɔmi awo na ya gbɔ alutɔ ye. Ara iwe na weto we mi ye ugbeso ko fi owe yo a awe owe mi ye ibi ehun mi a odo ehun mi nda oleba ene odo bo yawe mi agwa na ni iye olawa ni ado awon mi wewewe ama eweri omo wa de fe dokma emi wa sunu emi yon lawa ata ejo to ni aya rile owani aya rile eboni aya rile unwotagbon meno saloba rile unwotagbon na orile sonya unwiye ugawu bene ni matai bible no wa be oya yebo tai thou shall not ugawu iye le lo wani wa be we ni esi afian gbe le lo e be soro na o saloba wa afian gbe nu de ni esi ni ewu yen ga mi ni ko no ro emi o ko e mi yekin e ma afian gbe be kin da do bonu ri fien mi ge orewe iye na ya hwe iye nu we zese yi aya ebu edowe iwe re gbe ta iye nu zese yi iye nu we ya hwe kwa aya ebu edowe oyo mana oyo we na ge o ma no re gbe dia oji no ri gbe dia awe na e de kotuwe we re se ba ave bu edebe yo we edowe na ave mu ezo na be gbe ori mari e ma we ta fan for ye ri gbe dia ni ologo ma ni ye lele gian ede na iwa wewe aze yoyoyo ejoji ka iwe ofo kwa ya gbewa ede de agi mi won se na la ona zobo mi miye nunda okeke oho e ma
wesi anyway na zobo bi kokoro ko ma edoro pe wa mi eyin ni buro ni he si yebo ologo wa ni he si yebo obo sense o ki ma so bowo na mi we ihe osaba no eje mu eworia awano rebo uhinaji ya se gba be ave politician ni se boyo oteso gebo iya ori we ni he se eminu we inu awuna won le lo de nu na tala won mu we iye ke aya re ma we nu wa re ma osaba roju wa ya ma supa aiwe lo de mata o ligi noro na emi e orusin na ye na ni bana iwa le gbogbe le mana uwa mi ni ami ode not odo awa ari owebe awa fi si afio la e moni re owebe ni bidie ni emi no kin awa fi han lawo a ite de mi esowo awu na mu go da kele ihe we ni we to bo no woni ibi we ru ni so ihe ewe wa ru ni no ri osi lade we na mu we igo na ha yo we no wani mana me no ru e wa ge he ihe ni ki eni ya ki ni wa e bo na wa la wo abe o te se ge wa ru so no ri ko se na wari no wari he we nu aru no man na ne nu
when I saw dio webo yo gwe dio fio boye o ven o keke are mu na be o ya mu na wa so a ori he
ni anyway atan ya wese
do no pebu na la wona ye me na we mi we na teme ma no ma mi ori o ebuku na la wo re iyen ma be gbe o se mi ame osuwu osu ipapa osi ologun wa yo wa na la na yo bi ma si emi ni bi ibi o hadori oja ebo keke oba atope
ise atame
ihe mi no ma ye gbe de gbe owe unu na ya ti he ye unu na ya ti mi ame ete unu na ti yari ba ye hu do ni ikepa na yin yo pa yin ku wa gi ma le ni he hu da were igban re bo ki le gbe wi o no le gbe mi ni ne o ga we o ga ko kieke o se ti ya ri e be de na akwe afi were no ro ga ri pa egua de ma gbe igetoku itu wahari be na mi ho na itu awe eboni re ikabetu itu ma ni re igosa o atokpe
me anyway me tue agboya fe keniri ye kovia keniri yo kori on wo de ke ya fe osaro ba wo no mu here no da de bo ya fe oba atokpe
Oh, Certainly the best.
In the evening of the initiation day, all the newly initiated Edion danced to the residents of the Odion Way and also visited some homes of the various senior elders, where Chief Elder Ogbedio Onwonse was very conspicuous, especially at the country home of Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osaro Igbenedion with his family on the night of the initiation. On the following morning, as part of the rite to be performed by the newly initiated Edion in Okada town, the initiates, led by Chief Elder Ogbedio Onwonse, visited the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osaro Igbenedion, at his Okada country home residence to pay homage and appreciate him for all he has done in the development of the community, which has placed Okada in world map. They also thanked him for his role in the success of their ceremony. They commended the Esama of Benin as a custodian of Benin cultural heritage and for revitalizing the age-long tradition of the age-grade ceremony.
ITV, certainly the best.
It's always beautiful to have you join us on TMI, and a fresh start on today's show gives us a look into various topics and, of course, issues surrounding that. But before we have a taste, they say the taste of the pudding is in the eating and not on the appearance. Well, let me say I have my two wise ones around me, and let me start with the beautiful lady just beside, and Anoluwapo Stevens. Good morning, you look bright.
Good morning. You look great as always with the famous outfit.
Did you say that?
I actually didn't have the intention of saying it on air,
All right.
but I love the fact that you said wise one. I think it sounds better than
Guys!
Right?
I know you're going to come up with your guys thing.
All right, Lawrence.
Good morning,
Good
Philip.
morning.
Good morning, Anu. Good to see you guys again after my birthday.
Oh,
There was no
that reminds
indication,
me.
actually.
That reminds me. We are yet to celebrate that. Actually, you did that on your.
Since on Friday.
Oh, did
You
you
don't
do that on
celebrate
your-
anymore till next year. It's good to be here again on a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday morning, the 10th day of the month of March 2026. Let's look at some of the topical issues and everything about the politics and the polity. Good to be here.
All right, let's have Patricia from our Lagos network. Okay, let's start with Abuja, where we have Dominic AMSA. Good morning, Dominic. You look radiant.
Of course, good morning, Philip. Good morning, Arno. The birthday boy, if I should start by wishing you a very wonderful, and God will continue to strengthen you. Of course, Lawrence, last week was your birthday. We're yet to get your birthday cake. I want to say a very good morning also to Patricia in Lagos. It's a Tuesday, and the program this morning on ITV. It's a delight to be here again.
All right, well, no doubt we basically feel bright whenever we have Patricia joining us from the Lagos Network Center. How do you do, Patricia? Good morning.
Good morning, Philip. I'm doing well. Thank you so much. You look very handsome. And to Lawrence, happy birthday again. And to Anu Aluwapo, good morning.
Well, your birthday is always on.
Talk of the
Yeah,
town,
well,
you know.
belated happy birthday.
Thank you,
And,
guys.
well, let's really see what happens every day. You know, every day that breaks comes with its stories and news, trending issues. But just over the issue about the convention that happened last year, November 15 and 16, precisely at Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, the decision of the appeal court seemed to worsen the challenges that the PDP is facing, like from the frying pan
to fire.
To the fire.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts on that, Anu.
Well, it seems to everyone that it's an unending challenge and unending, drama. And every day, a lot of things keeps to unfold within the PDP. I remember listening to Turakai, one who was among one of the faction of the PDP, and he said that the court has no right, has no legal standing to get involved in political shenanigans, if I'm to put it that way, that is going on. But let's have a background to the PDP political crisis. Now, the crisis rocking the PDP currently is mainly about the leadership struggle.
Yeah.
As at today, we have two factions, the one led by the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde. Take you back to the appeal court judgment of yesterday. Now, the appeal court in Abuja has made a decisive ruling. It upheld an earlier judgment of the Federal High Court. The judgment nullified the PDP National Convention that was held in Ibadan, and it also barred the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from recognizing the convention and its leadership. So it's basically about leadership struggle. And when would it end? As of yesterday, we had one of the PDP governor in Zamfara State moving over to the APC, making 32 governors right now in the APC. It speaks a lot about the issue regarding one-party state. I do not know how many governors we have in the PDP right now. Someone said one and a half. I don't know what that means, but it's an unending one, and when would it end is the big question.
It's the big question. Big thanks for that, Ralph. Well, let's look at the situation, how it comes and how we can take it out. Most especially when we x-ray it with the development of democracy.
Absolutely.
Democracy is supposed to have, a healthy rivalry, among political parties. Like what she said, we seem to be tilting towards a one-party system.
When you look at how the fallout of PDP actually now finally started, the wiki we're talking about today and the Sheyi Makinde, the factions now, these guys were pars. Remember the G5? Where you have the then, who was there again? Enugu State Governor, who was the other person? They were 5 actually as at then when Wike was running his second tenure as the governor of River State. These guys were forces. But now look at, people will ask you, what went down the drain? Nobody knew what happened before the whole trouble started.
Politics happened.
She said politics happened. Before the trouble started, Wike said no, he became a minister, he's still a member of the PDP. He claims to be a member of the PDP, but the PDP is saying, no, you are doing anti-party activity. So that was what led to his suspension from the November 15th Oyo convention, and after that, the guy fled up and said, no, we can't continue. Like, a whole lot of things started happening. But let's see what will happen, because the truth is, there are legal procedures to all of this, from federal high court to state high court, to appeal, from appeal to Supreme. Yes. So they will get to Supreme, and we'll still see what happens. And get to know that the wife of the, in quotes, minister is now a justice in the Supreme Court.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Are you trying to bring about,
I am just saying.
Personal.
The wife of the environment minister is now a justice in the Supreme Court, and the environment minister is a life bencher.
I think that reminds me of what he said. It's a legal jargon. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a legal jargon. Memo Judas in court as well. That is, you cannot be a judge in your own case.
Or your own case.
Now, especially when you made reference to the wife,
in the Supreme Court
of the factor in question.
Exactly. So, but we continue to watch and see. The law, the justice is blind.
Yep.
We were told, we were taught a law. So let's see.
Justice is blind. In Nigeria, can we say something
in reality?
That's a puzzle there.
Let's leave it there.
Well, let's join you, Dominic KMSA. I know you've got drops of issues that you also want to x-ray from the Abuja Network Center. Spill, please.
Of course, you've already set the pace for the discussion. We are basically looking at that very ruling from the appeal court yesterday. So much was said, like you guys mentioned, the PDP is now at a crossroad. If you look at the judgment of Justice Omotosho last year, where he restrained INEC from recognizing PDP convention, or the outcome of the convention, because the convention later held in November. From the judgments, it means that there was a total violation of that judgment by the Federal High Court. That was what the appeal court raised yesterday. And most of all these issues that we see borders on internal party policies. The internal party crisis of PDP is one issue now that the party is putting at the front burner, that the court does not have jurisdiction to enter into party issues. Even the 2026 Electoral Act clearly states that the courts do not have a right on internal party issues. But there are other constitutional provisions that gives the courts rights to actually go into issues that have to do with party policy, just like what we saw yesterday. But the party say they are heading to the Supreme Court. Definitely, after getting the judgment, they are hoping to get the true copy of that judgment today. So by today, their lawyers will be well briefed, and their lawyers will brief them on the next day. But definitely, I know that the issue will be moving to the Supreme Court. But what then is the implication of this very judgment, especially as it concerns the PDP that has branded itself some time ago as the largest political party in Africa, and sometimes the largest opposition party, but like Anu mentioned earlier, either 1.5 or 1, or I think they have just 2 governors left in that party. But let's leave it to our analysts who will be coming later to tell us what is the implication as we wait to get the true copy of the judgment, just like the chairman said yesterday, as the embattled chairman this time, who has been removed by the appeal court based on the judgment that did not recognize the convention that produced him. So today we'll see what they will heading to. Definitely the PDP will want to brief the press on its next action, but believe me, they'll be heading to the Supreme Court to get judgments. Don't forget there is another judgment that is coming up again next week on the same issue in the appeal court as regards to this very convention. 2 courts in Ibadan gave different rulings, and I think we'll just keep our hands crossed. A lot is coming out. Before 2027, we'll be seeing where the PDP will be in the coming months, just like there's already timetable for parties to begin conventions, primaries, and all that, but we don't know where the PDP belongs. But let me just leave that to our analysts who will be coming in later to tell us more on the implication of the court's judgment and PDP.
Thank you. You already said that we don't need to devour everything. Analysts will do that basically, but let's just be factual about it that, you know, internal democracy in the parties, political parties, are being threatened, most especially what is happening in the PDP. And again, just 10 months to the elections, 2027 elections, what could be the implication of that? Well, let's get your thoughts on what you've got in your plate. Patricia from our Lagos Network Center. Basically, you agent waiting, suffering over what you've got to share.
Thank you, Philip. Actually, I just want to talk about the PDP a little bit before I go into what we'll be discussing here from our Lagos Network studio. Now, one question I want to ask, what exactly went down with PDP? And can they get it right? We just have 10 more months to go before the 2027 elections. Will they be able to get it right? Will they be able to stand on their feet again? Like Anu said, we have just 1.5 governor, or maybe 2, left in PDP. Who knows, before the 10 months come, they might also move to ADC. Well, that's for it. We're just going to be leaving that for the analysts to come and explain to us what exactly will happen after all the court judgments. From here in Lagos, we're going to be talking about the increase of the military salaries by the president. The president had approved increase in salaries of the military personnel. Why now is the big question. Is there a political undertone to this? Why has he decided to approve the increase for the salaries of the military personnel now, just 10 months to the 2027 elections? Is he going to use that as a campaign benefit to his side? Or there was a need for him to do that? But I'm going to leave that to the analyst who is going to be joining me soon to discuss all of this. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Patricia. You gave us another question to probe over. Well, they say Nigeria, oh my country. They call it a cross country, but I'm proud of it because basically we will continue to interrogate the questions, you know, interrogate the issues. Right. That's a big wahala. 10 months to the election. You didn't increase other salaries.
Philip,
you went forward to increase that of the military.
Philip, Nigeria is a living conversation, a never-ending discussion.
You're talking about my country.
We're talking about it every day.
So honestly, I feel like right now, all of the politicians need to be careful because anything you do at this point would always have the question regarding political connotation, political undertone.
Even if you are doing it from a pure heart.
Because it's a couple of days down to the election that will kickstart in January 2027. So, I mean, we should expect more.
Well, it's going to be interesting anyway.
But truth really is, why now?
Why now?
Yeah.
Well, cost of living has increased.
The cost of living increased.
How much is a liter of fuel?
Don't forget, IPAC must have seen all of this that made it to threaten a boycott on the 2027 general elections because IPAC did say that looking at what is facing, most especially in the Electoral Act 2026 as amended and all that has to do with, you know, the requirement that is expected that a member of a political party should have in terms of having the name and of course uploading the name as a member. IPAC went against that and said that could disenfranchise, you know, Nigerians, most especially in the party structures. And again, it also went ahead to say the non-transmission of election results at real time, which is missing in the Electoral Act, is another reason for them to also think about boycotting the election.
I think it's high time we get...
And the indirect primaries, don't forget.
Philip, it's high time we get things right in this country. As a Nigerian, you have 4 means of identification. 4. 1, national identity card. 2, international passport.
At least you should have 1.
3, driver's license. 4, the voter's card. When you have one out of these 4, you can use it to do whatever you want to do. That's what the law says. I'm not the one saying it.
So why shouldn't you have 1 at least?
No, that's what I'm saying. Someone who I have the 4 actually. Me personally, I have the 4.
Yeah.
But if you have 1, you are equivalent with me that have the 4.
You seem not to be on the same page with IPAC.
That is what I'm saying. Because it is really, really, I don't know, I have already a voter's card, which is one of the means of identification. You're telling me to upload NIN again. Does it make sense? Let's ask ourselves questions.
Okay.
Well, I honestly feel that only,
doesn't.
only the officials of IPAC would have a cogent reason that would be able to convince Nigerians as to
Beyond
why,
every reasonable doubt.
Right, as to why
Like
they
they say
are
in court.
tailing towards this procedure for the
Boycott?
2027 general election.
Well, they call it intrigue and suspense. You know, when watching action movie, you know, not the one done by MI anyways. Action movies, you know, there's always, it comes with intrigues and suspense.
Absolutely.
And Nigerian movies are actually very interesting, most especially when it deals with the political class, you know, with our president as the hero in the movie. He must always win his fight.
Absolutely. No, he's a fighter to win.
All right.
Since he became from Lagos State to the Senate, now president, is a fighter to win.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if there will be any governor again in few days' time.
Sheyi said he's going nowhere. He said he swore to himself.
Okay.
That's Makinde of Oyo State.
Okay.
Who is the 1.5? Who is the half, please?
Who is the half?
That
was ironical. That was ironical.
I think it's the minister. It could be. Okay, no, he's not a governor.
No, the minister is a
he's here and he's
And
there.
he's
So
there.
that sums up
All right.
half right now.
Let's leave our drama queens. And,
guy was
let's
thinking
take
of
a short
asking that
break.
question.
After which we come up with the pages of the newspaper. I know you're really itching closely to get the pages and see how the headlines are like this day. All right, let's go on the pages of the newspaper with a start on the Daily Sun. And what does the Daily Sun has to say on the pages of the newspaper? We've got this, hey, almighty God. It says, PDP to accumulate NWC heads for Supreme Court. And that's basically it. Rejects the appeal court judgment and, of course, voiding party's national convention in Ibadan. You get that on page 6. And of course, this says Nigeria's stocks surge in dollar terms despite global tensions. And marketers project 2,000 naira for fuel price as Dangote hikes petrol, diesel price to 1,175 and of course 1,620. No doubt the fight against Iran, you know, is hitting us strong.
Philip, you know, I said this last week here when we were here together. I gave you the business side.
We're trying to avoid the bad news.
The news is here. It's not a bad news, it's a news. You are the one who categorizes whether it is good
because
or bad.
it affects what should stay in my pocket.
That is what I am saying. Nigeria as a country makes more money. A price of crude now, as we speak, is between $90 to $100 per barrel. And our benchmark for the 2026 budget was $65 per barrel. What does that mean? Nigeria as a country, we make more money. While Nigerians as a people, we spend more money. Now the vehicle I entered this morning as I was coming, the guy was like,
I love that analogy.
Yeah, that is it. Nigeria as a country, more like times 2. What we budgeted to sell $1 barrel at the international market. Now it has exceeded that.
So what you're saying is that government is making money while
Nigerians are losing money. While Nigerians are losing money. Meanwhile, somebody could now account for 210 trillion naira that I just left office. And the person, that is Nigeria's budget for 4 years. 210, 58.818 was our budget for 2026, right? So if you calculate it times 4, that's 4 years budget. One human being, one person. Meleki Ari, the former group.
Okay, let's leave that. I think that will be another discussion for another day.
Right, but let's not forget, it's not only happening here in Nigeria.
It's a global
because
thing.
getting fillers from a lot of Nigerians, they are blaming our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
Of course, we should blame the president.
which I feel shouldn't be at this point.
Which you feel is unfair.
Yes, because all of this hell-bent or has an undertone from what is going on in the Middle East
gladly,
crisis. I saw a video where there actually was queue in a UK petrol station, and a lot of persons said, "Oh, it's not just a Nigerian thing; it's a global phenomenon."
Yeah, though it's a global phenomenon, but you know, anything that comes to Nigeria is always escalated beyond dimensions.
Everything.
Don't forget that.
I've always told people, if we buy a liter of fuel, 15 naira per liter, it's still too expensive in Nigeria. I know what I'm saying.
All right. Well, let's get to the pages of the newspaper. I think, Anu, you've got that to take up.
All right, let's move over to the next newspaper up for review this morning. We have the Nigerian Tribune. Okay, let's have the Daily Trust newspaper then. All right. The Nigerian Tribune. The main headline says, Nigerians groan as petrol price rises. Subwriter says petrol sells between 1,200 naira to 1,300 naira in Lagos, Ogun, Ibadan, Delta, others, amidst Dangote price review. PETROAN says PMS could rise to 2,000 naira. AGO, 3,000 naira per liter. Why Nigeria is not insulated from global oil price volatility despite the Dangote refinery, others. Who's asking? CPPE. Well, yesterday we had the MD of Dangote Refinery coming out to have a press briefing, because a lot of persons were dragging Dangote as regards why he's always increasing prices with any slight chances. And he categorically stated that with what is going on right now with the process, they get to buy fuel in dollar, and everything now is connected to the international Brent crude, which is now over $100 per barrel, and this is where
that explains it.
That explains it. It explains, because inefficiencies of government should be blamed. Why did I say that? We have 4 refineries, right? 2 in Port Harcourt, 1 in Warri, and 1 in Kaduna. Are they working?
Don't forget, government, they are never good business managers.
But money was pumped, right? Huge money.
Well, the current...
We'll leave it there. Don't forget the 210 trillion naira.
It's not billion, it's not million. Trillion naira. That's really, that's 4 years budget. Trillion. 4 years budget.
Let's move over to other interesting
4 years
headlines. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Dangote Adenuga Oyetola Rabiu makes 2026 Forbes Africa Billionaires list. Dangote Adenuga Otedola Rabiu makes 2026 Forbes Africa Billionaires list. On page 4, you get details of that story. Appeal Court throws out Aiyedatiwa's appeal on eligibility for re-election. On page 16, politics playing out right there. IGP vows to take back communities held by bandits in Kwara on page 8. Other interesting headlines this morning. Appeal Court nullifies Ibadan PDP convention. Zamfara governor joins APC. Subwriter says Wike Hill's judgment says it is to embrace unity. We will appeal to the Supreme Court. Who is speaking? Terkai-led PDP declares. Let this family quarrel end at the Court of Appeal. Olawapo Hashim has that. And finally, stakeholders must come together to defend PDP's legacy. Obi has that on page 14.
Okay. I think I'll have something to say about the Aiyedatiwa. You know, Aiyedatiwa's case is like Jonathan's case when ex-president, what's his name again? The president, he was vice under. I'm trying to remember.
Okay, go ahead with story.
When he died, and people were saying, oh, he took over, he swore to an oath, he now came again, elected, so he cannot go again for an election. You know, the court will always have interpretations to these things. But the truth is, someone who completes somebody's tenure, you have the right to run for your 2 terms.
Of course, that's right.
We leave everything for the court to judge. Whether Aiyedatiwa will come back as a 3rd term oath taker. Because people are saying he wants to take the oath for the 3rd time. But we'll leave it for the court to decide. Let's go to the next one on the pages, front pages of the papers. Let's see which papers do we have next now on call.
Daily Trust.
Daily Trust. Daily Trust is leading why PDP may not be on the ballot in 2027. why PDP may not be on the ballot. Middle East crisis, what oil windfall means to Nigeria. You can find out on page 8 of the Daily Sun. Zamfara governor defects to APC. Okay, that happened yesterday. We saw all of the happenings in Zamfara. Dauda Lawal has moved. He said it's now an APC governor. Page 6 is leading how we escaped school building collapse. Students, I think that happened in Lagos. I saw this on some of the rubbles you can see on the pages of the paper. And finally, how military lost 3 commanding officers in 1 week. How military lost 3 commanding officers in 1 week.
Okay, well, I'm afraid that's the much we can take on the pages of the newspaper. Just giving you a well appetite for you. Go get stories, fetch them as much as you can, and internalize. Well, we're going to be taking a short break, after which we're going to be delving into the discussion segment from the Benin Network Center, where we're going to be looking at issues surrounding IPAC and, of course, the threat to boycott the 2020 election. And, of course, we wouldn't also fail to bring you a discussion as regards the effects on the war against Iran, the effect on crude oil, and, of course, fuel, and all that comes with Tuesday. Well, it's great to know that you're with us on this morning on ITV, and we're basically looking at the war against Iran and, of course, the effects. Basically, we're having shocks about the increase in crude oil and fuel prices, and, of course, how impactful that is. Will go a long way to also determine, how this is impacting on, global prices of fuel, of course, crude oil. Joining me to discuss this is an economist and development expert in the person of Dr. Aliu Elias. Good morning, Dr. Aliu.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's quickly look at what is happening, in terms of the war against Iran, and it's really affecting, globally. And can you tell us how realistic, in terms of how much of our prices that is skyrocketing in terms of the crude oil and, of course, fuel prices, how is it impacting negatively? To what magnitude?
Right. I think it's clear that sometimes when we are talking about war, people don't know the impact of war. You can see as far as Asia, there's war, and it's affecting Nigeria as a country. That simply means that it has a global effect, and it's affecting negatively, like we rightly said. You will see that things are getting changed. The price of crude oil has skyrocketed. The price of PMS, even in Nigeria today, is around 1,300. That's a serious problem. So, but what is the major problem? The fact remains that in the sphere of oil, or in oil community, Iran happens to be very important part of it, not because they have oil, it's because of the corridor that we have, which is called Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is a corridor where most of the crude oil passes through to Asia and outside Asia. So the challenge now lies that most of the 20% of the oil that should have passed through that corridor cannot pass through that corridor again, because when Iran was strike, they also decided to create a kind of blockage in that axis, and that's why it's affecting global community. However, as the oil producing country, we are not supposed to actually even have a feel of it. Why did I say so is because if we are actually producing locally, we wouldn't have feel the impacts at this much, but it's because we are open to global markets. So whatever happens in global markets will happen to Nigeria. Meanwhile, war in Iran should have been a blessing to Nigeria, because Nigeria would have been focused on, you could see that even global markets now, when Nigeria did their budget for 2026 budget, proposed budget, it was $64 per barrel, but now it's about $100, over $100 per barrel. That simply means that Nigeria is supposed to rake in more money. But yes, Nigeria will rake in more money, but citizens will pay more money out of their pockets, simply because we did not plan, we did not prepare for this level of opportunity that can come, because we are not refining and we don't have a lot of refining refinery in Nigeria. That's why we are actually being impacted negatively.
Okay, well, just like what you said, that basically we are not supposed to be having that bad effect in Nigeria, looking at what we have. And we have it. Even Dangote is getting crude in Naira. And of course, the sharp increases in its prices. How do you commensurate that with the challenges globally on the war against Iran?
Well, we must clarify that aspect very well. How many percentage of crude oil is Dangote getting from Nigeria? Dangote is also importing crude oil to Nigeria. So once he imports, he has to do, it's a global market, and he has to actually increase his price to actually fit in and meet up the global market. So he's actually getting some percentage, very, very few percentage in Nigeria, and he's getting it through Naira, but he's getting majority of this crude oil from abroad. So that's why we have such experience. The only thing I said, what I'm actually looking at is the CNG. If we look at the CNG, I think everything about CNG happens to be local. So we are looking at if that will not actually increase. But PMS, diesel, another one will increase. And the negative impact of the increment is that it's going to affect our inflation. You know, Nigeria has gotten a lot of achieved a lot of level in terms of control of macroeconomic indicators like inflation, you know, having more money saved, you know, bringing down NPR. But with this, what is happening now, we may be returning back to where we are coming.
Doc, now knowing that you are an economist, so it is good you are analyzing this. Looking at this whole issue now, globally, as it affects the global world, it's not just a Nigerian thing. But don't you feel that we here in Nigeria are bearing the brunt too much, because we never thought we were going to go back again to buying premium motor spirit for as high as even 1,000 naira, let alone 1,200, depends. But like I was telling my colleague earlier, Nigeria as a nation, we make more money, but Nigerians as a people, we pay through their nose. Now, with the imminent cost of living already, you know, inflation, they are saying is going down anyway, but like you mentioned, this is going also to spike up inflation. What is the hope of the common man who is earning 70,000 naira as minimum wage in all of this saga that is not even caused by Nigerians? What is the hope? How can a Nigerian cope in the face of this reality right now?
Right. So the challenge is that we don't have a good shock absorber to actually meet up this shock. You could see that immediately the spike, the war started, not even up to 3 months, 4 months, we have seen the negative impact of it. The fact remains that Dangote, as it is, I'm not sure it can produce up to 20% of what we need in Nigeria. So that means we still rely majorly on importation of 80% of what we need. And when you need 80% from outside, that simply means you are going to be subjected to the international global price. But if you are producing locally, refining locally, that would have give us an opportunity to control our price internally. NMDPRA would have had the opportunity of saying no, don't increase, be in this level of threshold. But now we are open. So coming to Nigeria's citizen, that simply means Nigeria should be prepared to buy goods in much more increased price, because the inflation may likely move beyond where we have it, and that simply means there is an increase in price of goods and services, which is not a good one. You know that Nigeria ordinarily is battling with disposable income. You know, purchasing power is poor. You know, we are suffering that already. Even though before now we've not seen a drop in the cost of transportation, but this will increase. Let me give you an example. Someone who lived around Maraba, my colleagues yesterday was telling me that they have increased the price of transportation already for him. So imagine now he's paying the brunt of it already, which is he's paying the brunt of global war in Nigeria that have oil. So it's a serious one, and I think the government needs to do more, especially on our refinery. If it cannot work for Nigeria, let them sell it and let private company use it, and at least we can have 50% of what we need in terms of refined oil.
Okay. Well, Dr. Liu, I still have a question for you. Let's take our minds again away from Nigeria. Let's look at the. You may mention the fact that the aspect of the supplies, though it's not as if Iran has too much of it, but just because of the position and what you also demonstrated as a factor. But again, we understand that we are having losses on supplies from Iran. How can the world compensate for this? Most especially, how can supplies be jacked up quickly from the US, from Saudi Arabia, Shell, OPEC, to compensate for the losses that we're having from Iran in this war? Do you see a quick fix it?
Right. So the fact is that it's not that there is no oil available. The oil is available, but there's a supply chain problem. So supply chain simply means moving of oil commodity
for the poor connectivity in that, but as much as we can get. Okay, I think we're back on. Go ahead from where you left off, Dr. Liu.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is that supply chain is a problem. So when there's a supply chain problem, it began to show a negative impact on it. So there's oil, but the oil can have to pass through. And the oil will pass through the Strait of Hormuz through that corridor. So oil cannot pass through that area. That's why we have supply chain problems. So going forward, the major thing is that if you notice, Trump has actually declared another area that they should open that area up. So even though they open that area up, it will take them a whole lot of time. So most of them have to turn back from that Strait of Hormuz to go and look for other source of the
all right. Let me. We always want to come back to Nigeria because it's our country. Now, looking at what happened now recently in the Senate, the discovery of a huge sum of money, which would have been able to fix our domestic refineries. Let's not talk about the money that has been expended on it before now, but 210 trillion naira. From my calculation, that's Nigeria's national budget for 4 years, if we should go by the calculation. Don't you think if that money, if we can uncover the procedures and processes from 2017 to 2023 under the administration of the former group CEO of the NNPCL, Mele Kolo Kyari, if that money was channeled appropriately, probably we would not be battling with all of this problem. Only Dangote shouldn't be the one refining for a country as big as Nigeria. That brings us to accountability question in Nigeria. The question of the people we give powers to, how do they handle power? It seems like the man is cooling off in his house, enjoying the 210 trillion naira, and nobody is asking questions. Taking it from that angle, the NNPCL, is there a problem with the NNPC if we tie it to what is happening right now with the price hike and all of that? Because they couldn't even handle the 4 refineries we have.
Right. So if you ask me, I think our major problem is from NNPC. Because if you look at NNPC clearly, they failed to actually do the right thing at the right time. If you look at Dangote, it did the refinery less than the amount we used to do turnaround time for the past maybe 5, 6, 7 years. So it's very sad that we are experiencing such. Then in terms of the money, remember that our president is the minister. Our president happens to be the minister of petroleum. So we cannot hold Mele Kyari, we cannot hold, even Ojulari without calling on the minister who supervised that ministry. So it is a sad thing and a sad reality. So for me, I think it's good if they call Mele Kyari to come and actually account for what he has taken or what he has actually supervised. Perhaps, so let us assume that it's alleged until he comes to clear his name. But I think we have failed considerably, especially in this Fourth Republic, to put up what we're supposed to put up, because the money we used to do turnaround maintenance can even build 1 or 2 refineries for. So it's a sad reality. But I think it's a good one. Whatever office you occupy, it is not bad if it is being proved.
Let's round up with this last question, looking at the impact of this ongoing war against Iran on Nigeria. Like you said earlier, basically it's not supposed to be our palaver, but unfortunately we are seeing it as it is. What do you see as a short-term fix it, to close the gap that the people, will suffer from as a result of these changes? What do you see as a short-term fix it and a long-term plan for Nigeria?
Right. So if it's for Nigeria, I think the first thing is for us to start using to increase production of refined crude oil in Nigeria through other licenses. We are expecting BUA, we're expecting other people, but our own three refinery must be commercialized in a sense that if private sector will operate, let them give it to private sector. Now, for immediate solution, for someone like me, I've converted my car to gas, so to CNG. So for me, whenever I'm going out now, I will look for CNG, to actually use. So it's an alternative for me. But that CNG must also be available everywhere and every part of the country. I think that would be another solution for us in the long run. But for the international community, I'm not seeing the world stopping now. Is to get to see alternative routes. And alternative routes simply means more cost of buying refined petroleum and refined diesel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aliyu. A big thanks for taking our time to be part of this discussion, and we wish you a beautiful day ahead of you. We're going to be taking a short break from this, and of course, we'll hit the next discussion that has to do with IPAC and the threat to boycott the 2027 elections, except something is done. Let's go fetch that story. To stay. IPAC 2027 election boycott threat, and of course addressing key concerns is what we're about. And the beginning of this whole story about getting the Electoral Act amended, and of course all that went through in National Assembly, and the signing of the bill, giving assent to it by the president, made it a 2026 Electoral Act amendment. And of course, it has not been well with the opposition, of course, some civil society activists that came up with the fact that there are issues surrounding, the transmission of election results at three time, which was not given attention to. But again, the IPAC came up with another issue as regards the requirement being circulated or being enshrined in the act that a member of the party should be able to get the name and of course upload the name. And again, IPAC frowned against that is a big challenge, because that would be negating their rights on the African Charter of the Human and People's Rights of the Constitution, and also went against the fact that the missing item as regards the transmission of election results at three time, electronically, was not given attention to. And that, as it is, the mode of conduct of primaries, which the amendment came up with as regards only supporting that of the direct primaries and not giving attention to the indirect primaries, which IPAC is also against. Well, what is the sum up? The sum up here is that IPAC is saying that they may boycott the election 2027 if the National Assembly does not go about reviewing this before the election. Well, joining us to discuss this is a member of the All Progressives Congress, also one-time SSA to the governor of Edo State on youth and development, Comrade Collins Osagai Amadin. Good morning, Collins. Collins, I think you can hear me.
I can hear you. Good morning, Philip. Good morning, everybody.
You at my opening, and I want your comment, because all of this happening now seems to give an impression like what the oppositions are saying, that about 60-65% of the Electoral Act 2026 as amended is favoring the All Progressives Congress, your party. And that, as it is, IPAC is saying that they may boycott the 2027 election because they don't see that as an election. Rather, it's election that will be in favor of your party, the APC. What's your reaction to that?
Thank you very much. I think it's quite unfortunate when people who want to rescue power chooses to sleep. So also be candid to you, majority of persons even in the APC are not very happy that the opposition are sleeping, because there's nothing competition. Being competitive creates for good governance, create and make even the sitting government or the sitting party, to sit well and then deliver based on promises made. But when they have choose the time you are supposed to work, you are going to the market to go and be eating corn. The other one is going to go and buy meat pie, while the other one is going to go and stand in front National Assembly when you are supposed to be out doing. So this is the result. They just realize that nothing is on ground. That is why they are talking about boycotting. Even when you talk about boycotting, I think IPAC actually, though is an umbrella of all political parties, but as it stands today, it's as if IPAC is selected party of probably three political parties undermining the other. And I can also assure you, those who want to fly under the platform of some of those political parties will also not agree. Like the one Sareki Dixon has just decamped to the former Bayelsa State Governor, for example. You do not think that, well, is it not NCP or the NCD will be part of this IPAC to say their candidate will not contest when the state candidate is assumed as the national chairman and even the agent of the party. So what I'm trying to say in nutshell, they should sit up, do what they need to do at the right time, and it's not late. You must not register the whole Nigeria before and upload them as your members. No. The ones that you can quickly upload and submit. Then let others be your normal supporter who will vote for you probably when INEC gives an opportunity again for all parties to put their portals and register members. You can then register. You don't just look for issues that are not supposed to be issues and use the opportunity to create self-failure. And then you start calling on the opposition. All these political parties we are talking about, apart from few that were just registered newly, if you apply to INEC just to be registered newly, inevitably you should understand that it's not the day you make your application. You are doing that. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me, please?
All right, thank you, Collins. Well, let's again look at what has been on. We want to always believe that we must get it right as a people. Looking at what we have as a challenge, where it seems that we are tilting towards a one-party system. But again, what are your thoughts as regards getting it right in order to build confidence, from the All Progressives Congress, most especially the president, who is the leader of the party?
It's quite unfortunate when people begin to talk about one party in Nigeria as it stands. No, there's nothing like one party system. The democratic practices we are practicing gives us high opportunity for everyone to the canvas for people, for everyone to go out there, do what you need to do to making your party more filled, because that is the essence of democracy. You cannot go out there, you are sleeping, you can't even pay for your secretariat, you don't even have what secretariat, you don't have LGA secretariat. Do you want the opposition to do it for you? Those were then when people were creating political parties to make money from INEC. When unfortunately it was not forthcoming the way they expected it, INEC is no more dishing out money for the leaders of political parties to go and be enjoying buying more houses or buying new properties. Then they become weak. That is just the truth. We used to have a system where political parties go all out with all vigor, mobilize people, do all you can. But right now, they are all playing their own politics on social media. They've all gone to, they buy data every morning, they sit on their table, they fabricate stories that are never there, while some are there on the street working, galvanizing, putting things on ground, and you want them to wait for you. This is a precedent, for example, you and I know that even at the time he was contesting for primary within the party, where you have the vice president, you have a minister for transport that was running around his feet because he felt he was very energetic and he has done so much, and you have other billionaires who contested with him that they were going to beat him black and blue. You saw the way he messed all of them up.
Tinubu does not beat anybody. I'll come back to you. Okay. Let's quickly have this opportunity to welcome another guest who is a policy analyst and, of course, a legal practitioner, joining us virtually, and it is Matthew Edegase. Good morning, Matthew. To get signals from that end, we will be bringing you his contribution to the show. Well, let's come back to you, Collins.
All right, Collins, if you can hear me. You know, you've been,
I can hear you very well.
as a member of the ruling or Progressive Congress, definitely you will always have to defend your party no matter what the decision is. But the decision of the presidency with the Electoral Amendment Act 2026, which is now a problem, or sort of, you know, to a lot of Nigerians and some of the political class, do you think the speed and the rush in which that amendment was given by the Senate and sent to the president for assent just immediately, does it reflect the wish of the people via their representatives? Because it was a matter of, oh, this was not what we want in some quarters, and it was a matter of, oh, we've done what we've done. Anybody who want to challenge the decision would know the normal English, you go to court. So does this really reflect the wish of the people that they are representing at the National Assembly?
You know, it's quite unfortunate and very sad that it is only when the ruling party help to implement what Nigeria has yearned for all this while, we begin to see it in the opposite side. Now we have cried, okay, some Nigerians have been crying now, they want to make the party or the country a one-party system. Now you have a president through the representative at the Senate and House of Representatives who are helped to enact a law that will now hold on party part of the law sections were not touched or amended. I would have bet you today, after the APC primary, you will make, after the primaries of each political party, opposition party may not even have 5 members anymore, because they are all going to troop away and join the ruling party. Now with the strong sections of the amended act, which you are saying, if you are already, you know, be digitalized or uploaded in your party as a member of your political party, even if the primary fails, like the one likely to happen in the opposition party, you cannot even leave and go to another party to go and contest. Is that not, are we not supposed to give them credit for that? We are supposed to give them credit for that. Now you talked about the transmission. It was very explicitly clear. Even as I'm talking to you, at the beginning, it wasn't clear. I was struggling. And most times I like to be on the studio directly instead of going via Zoom, because network in Nigeria, as it were, is not 100% guaranteed. Now you can even see what they implemented, that either is manually transmitted or can also be real-time transmission. Either way can go. Now you have war that has ravaging the world today. And you know, no country work in isolation. Now we are operating on satellite. Now the airspace have already been compacted and conjuncted by those who are fighting war. Let's say the Iran, the US, the Israel, the Kuwait, the Qatar, and many of these countries now, for example. Now the airspace, satellite also does not operate in isolation. There are interrelationships.
Thank you, Collins. I'm afraid that we have to stop you there quickly. Let's also join our next guest who is joining us via Zoom, a policy analyst, Matthew Edeghase. Good morning, Matthew. Good morning, Matthew. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Good morning, Phillips. Thanks for
okay, that's Heaven's Bread. Thank you so much, Matthew Edeghase. Well, good to have you join us. And I don't know, you've been following what has been happening, you know, as regards the Inter-Party Advisory Council and all they said concerning the threats, you know, to boycott the election 2027 if the review is not visible before them, before election 2027. Now, do you see their standpoint, looking at it from a constitutional point of view, as having a legal weight or just a political pressure? Can you hear me, Matthew? Well, I'm afraid we're having challenges with connectivity from that end, and when we're able to get it, I believe we'll get his contribution. Well, let's go back to you, Collins. Now, Collins, can you hear me? Let's look at a way to close the gap. You know, there's this mistrust that exists between the governed and those who govern. Now, how do we close the gap, most especially as regards the Electoral Act amendment that we have for 2026.
Yeah.
What do you see as a factor that it can help, close the gap in terms of bringing credibility to our elections? Because some have said that there seems not to be any headway as a result of the Electoral Act amendment, as we have it for 2026. There seems not to be a headway, to bring about credibility and trust in elections.
The truth is that so long as an institution is being managed by individuals, by people, you can hardly say you are trusting someone. Not until the person indeed fulfill a section of that responsibility that he or she is given, then you can say this person have done well. The truth is that when some are giving credence, others are discredited. That is how the system has been. And it will also end today, even with Trump administration. While some large numbers are giving discredit, some other numbers are also giving credit, which usually give them the edge to do more. But the truth is that we must continue to ask questions as citizens, as party faithful, indeed, as even entities. We must ask questions. The way things can gradually change when we are asking questions, amendments are being made, just like you are saying now. I'm sure 15, 20 years ago, the way we are now talking about the Electoral Act, the concerns that individuals are now expressing was not there before. That's good to show you that we are evolving. We'll continue to evolve. Maybe someday we'll get someone that indeed we have larger percent of trust. The only problem we have today is that people kind of discredit the leadership of INEC often a time because usually the law empower the presidency or government in power to have a majority of say in appointing such people. But we have not also seen whether in the Senate or in the National Assembly where you have nominees of anybody going for INEC and the opposition member in the Senate or the National Assembly have up to the time say otherwise. They usually don't even say otherwise, even when they know that there are cockroaches in that person's cupboard or that person is not capable. They are scared because they assume that if I speak out now, my election, the person may show interest in my very constituency and make sure I don't return back. So when people begin to act based on selfishness, you don't say things because you fear tomorrow we will continue to remain where we are. But when you are ready to lose some things and state it the way it's supposed to be, then God may also show mercy, not what you think of losing out. You may also not lose out. You may still get what you want to get. But what thing is possible in all of this to get it right? Let's sometimes build confidence on people. The more you build confidence and encourages them, sometimes it will also help them to believe that these people already have confidence in me. Let me not fail. But when you begin to discredit from the very onset, then they already have concluded that these people have handed me over to be a user of the president. So let me just do. We had a Bengobadia when democracy just returned back. Egwegobadia did his best. Even at the time we had musicians who sang with him. Egwegobadia, where your computer, Obubu Yeye. So there were a lot of names. Egwegobadia left.
I'm afraid that's much we can take from your end. Big thanks, Collins. But we take a short break, and after which we will be continuing the conversation. Do stay. Thanks for staying on. It's still on IPAC 2027 election boycott. And of course, we are having Matthew Edega say, a policy analyst and a legal practitioner. Please, Matthew, let's quickly get your speedy reaction over IPAC's decision, to probably boycott the elections if there's no review of the demands they made as regards what should be done, most especially in the area of the electronic transmission of results that they said is not at real time or is not even visible, on the amendment, and of course that of the mode of primaries, which they said was expunged, that of the indirect primaries, which is the prerogative, right of the party, that was expunged, and then the ability to have name and of course upload name before you can be a member of such a party. They all said that this go a long way to disenfranchise, Nigerians and of course members of political parties. Do you see them as having a political, a legal right, or do you see what they are saying as having a legal weight, that could be accommodated before the 2027 election by the National Assembly? Okay, but do you also see this, can you hear me? Do you see this as what could attract litigations?
Litigation? When you are talking about litigation, litigation is called on expert laws. In the electoral law is enacted, no country will litigate it away. Adjudication over a law that is validly made and accepted to by the president and is now an expert law. We are subject to it. No country will wish away a law that is validly made and enacted.
Okay, you may mention the fact that okay, you may mention the fact that boycotting the election, is not the way forward. But let's look at, does the Constitution have numbers? Does the Constitution have numbers as far how many political parties should participate in such an election before it gives it legality? Take, for instance, the major political parties are not fitting into the election. Does it make the election credible?
Credibility is one thing. Validity is another thing. It could be valid without not necessarily being credible. Once the law is there and the processes are followed by the participants in any tournament, it's like a team taking a walkout in a football match. It doesn't stop there. We are one in the team that says that on the pitch.
So it stays valid.
So, yes, it will be valid even if it's having a regulatory issues. It will not affect the validity.
All right, let me come to you, Barrister Matthew. Now, the legal angle was all we're trying to look at, but you were saying what has been signed by the president becomes an extant law. But after that as well, could there also be some ability to challenge? Because as it stands right now, the opposition political parties seem to be aggrieved. They are not happy with, you know, the rush at which this bill was. It went to the National Assembly. A lot of persons actually think it did not pass through scrutiny as it ought to be. You know, we have the stages of a bill, the committee stage, the report stage, you know, many stages and all that. First reading, second reading. But after that, could there still be some kind of provisions that is made for some of the sections to be challenged if they so wish to do that?
I'm sorry, your voice is so faint. It's not audible enough.
Okay, but the question he raised in summary is, can the political parties, you know, team up in the court and challenge the Amendment Act? But that was what you said. That was what you said. You know, they lost right over, being that it's already an act.
You go to court to challenge a law that is validly enacted. The court will not override the legislation, except if it is not in conformity with the Constitution. If it is done according to constitutional processes and it passes through the stages and it becomes law, the court is there to interpret the law, not to supplant obsolete laws. Court is not an alternative lawmaking body. It is there to interpret the law that is validly made.
Okay. Now let's seek your legal advice. In a situation like this, where there are gaps, where there are lapses, where the oppositions, they are crying out that, well, they don't believe that this electoral act is in their favor, but rather about 60-65% of the electoral act seems to be in favor of the ruling party. What do you advise the other political parties to do that will seem to make sense in all of this divide?
I do not want to see the law as being a sessional instrument. The law is all encompassing. It is the law for every Nigerian. There is no separate law for opposition and separate law for the incumbent party. And in fact, the law is not meant for the now. It's meant for not only for the now, it's meant for the now and the future. It's not a law that is made for only this election or for only this year. It may be there for the next 10 years. So when you say the law did not favor the opposition, I do not think the law should be favoring a particular set. The law should be a body, an instrument that regulates the conduct of everybody, especially these political actors, whether opposition or incumbent. I do not think the opposition will go and apply a different law that day of election, or the incumbent government will apply a separate law.
Thank you.
It is the same law that will bind both. So if the opposition feels that the law favors the incumbent, it suggests therefore that they want a law that will also favor them and be against the incumbent.
Thank you very much.
Operate.
Thank you very much, Matthew Edegasi. I'm afraid that's much we can take for this. Big thanks for taking our time to be part of this. Well, it's this one on ITV. We're going to be joining Dominic of Abuja Network Center for the conversation he's having from that axis. Do stay.
All right, it's the program this morning on ITV. Of course, we are back to our Abuja Network studio where we'll be looking at issues on the just concluded judgment or the outcome of yesterday judgment at the appellate court as the appeal court here in the FCT nullifying the convention that was held by the People's Democratic Party last year in November. Don't forget there's been a battle, a tussle of leadership who should be the rightful head of that opposition party. But we'll be looking at that and so much other issues from the heights of the judiciary, or this time we'll be having an interpretation to these judgments. Remember, there was one last year, the Omotosho judgment, the Ibadan judgment, and all of that. So he's joining us this morning to share light on some of this issue is Abdulkarim Musa, a human rights lawyer and also a public affairs analyst. A very good morning to you, if you can hear me.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Can you hear me, Barrister?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Okay, it seems we are having difficulty hearing, but if you can hear me, because I can barely hear you from your own end, can you give us a view or your own thoughts of the outcome of yesterday's judgment from the appeal court before we now look at other issues build up to what transpired yesterday at the courts?
Well, from the judgment yesterday, we can certainly say that the judgment is seemingly a definite blow on the PDP faction that is backed by the Turaki-led team, because the position and argument of the Turaki-led team was that the decisions of the party are party internal affairs, that the court has no jurisdiction to entertain matters that relate with internal party affairs. But the court has come out to say that when a political party breaches its own constitution and national laws, it is inviting the court to determine and intervene in such situations, because the rights of the people, members of the party, are involved, and also the requirement of INEC is also involved with regards to the notices that the other faction claim that they ought to have given before the convention is held. So certainly it's a definite blow on the Turaki-led team, and it seemed to be a validation of the Nyesom Wike camp. And then the question is the legitimacy of either of these camp of factions and how their organization would impact on the democracy that we have in Nigeria. Because to have a thriving democracy, the opposition parties must be strong. And what this whole circumstance and event seem to be is to weaken the opposition party such that their capacity to withstand the ruling party is limited on daily basis, seeing this crisis and disputes coming up.
Which are that very last point you mentioned, are trying to cripple the opposition political party of one. But I still want you to give us a legal interpretation to most of these issues that are coming up. Just like you mentioned earlier, internal party crisis, that's what the PDP or the Turaki faction is holding on to, and I believe they'll be heading to the Supreme Court with that stand. But make sense from the different court judgments on this issue. A violation of human rights in the case of the former Jigawa State Governor, who was not allowed to purchase the farm, and then the judgment of Omotosho stopping that, or rather stopping INF from recognizing the conduct of the Ibadan Convention. All these are part of judiciary or litigation that many persons are saying is now running our political parties. At what point, like a balance now, internal party constitution, at where do judiciary come in if we're having such cases like what we're seeing in the PDP? Can you hear me? Can you, Barrister Musa? All right, I think joining us there, I have Peter Ahmed is also joining us on the line. A very good morning to you.
Good morning to you too.
All right, let's just get your thoughts. The judgment yesterday, how did you receive it? I know you are not a member of the party of the PDP, but you've been a strong party man, and everybody knows you for your strong dedication when it comes to issue that has to do with party policy, this time around party democracy. What is your own interpretation of what transpired yesterday at the court?
I think for me, the over-judicialization of our internal party processes is overwhelming. And the fact that the party cannot organically, internally regulate itself had become even more scary, because what we had before now is that party has these structures and organs that take decisions for the management of the functions of the party. Today, our courts are, almost at every look and on any side you look, on issues of whether who will be the chairman, who will be the woman leader, who will be this, and all these things destroy the internal fabric, the fabric that holds the democratic structure within the party system, and destroy it. See, the challenge we have is that the court is speaking from double mouth. In one hand, he agrees that the suspension done by the Damagu faction, suspending the legal advisor, the secretary, were all in order. And in another breath, he's saying that the convention, but for the convention, I must say this clearly, that the court have not done anything wrong, because what I know is that when there's a judgment, I'm not a party man, and I've been in party administration for years and a former member in the party advisory council. When there's a judgment, whether for magistrate court, whether the court has no jurisdiction to hear the case, but the court have delivered a judgment or a ruling to say that the convention should not go ahead. If you conduct that convention in contravention of that order or judgment, other further courts will ask that you should have obeyed judgment. So when the Damagu faction was going to hold their convention in Ibadan, I have a friend who is very close. Even if you watch the video, you see him there. I called him. I said, since there's a judgment stopping you from convention, I think the right thing is to respect the Nigerian court and then suspend whether you agree with the judgment or not. Because if we continue to look at the wrongdoings of our judiciary and decide to, at the end of the day, continue to weaken the instrument of authority of the judiciary, then you find out that we'll descend into the arena of chaos. So that I faulted, and if the court, based on that, a substituting order and judgment was on ground, and the convention went ahead, and if the court, based on that, nullified that convention, I have nothing against it. But for me, it's a before that period, the foundation and all that. And I also have a very strong challenge against how the court came about accepting the decision that the WICF did at the FCT Secretariat. Even if you watch the video, you discover that the flag, the map of the FCT was at the center of the conference hall when they were doing the selection of their National Executive Working Committee. And how did they arrive at that? How the court understand whether they form a quorum? Because if you look at those who were chairman and secretary that were recognized by INEC after the congresses were conducted, they belong to the Damagu faction. So how did they arrive at the level where the court will continue to put small provisos and caveats that suggest that the caretaker committee led by the Wike faction should be recognized by INEC? So these are the challenges that of our democracy. And if we continue to treat party politics like this, then at the end of the day, we have weak political party and a strong party in power, which will lead us to a communist state and a one-party system. Yes, might be attempting to, the Nigerian people, those in power today, might be attempting to run a one-party state. But Nigeria is not a one-party country, because you have to remove the power structure from the state, which you could have seen what the electorate could do if they are united, if they are disenchanted, if they are depressed by the governance and policies of the government. So all these shenanigans that politicians are doing and saying that parties will have structures, parties should not be able to organize and using the instrumentality of the court to undermine these processes will not hold water on the day of election, because at that day it will be one man, everybody to his booth, and we determine what will they vote for.
Supreme in this argument now, because you talked about the working committee that INEC is bound to recognize. Now we have then some persons somewhere who see themselves as party leaders. Now, if the court judgment is based on what the party says, that look, you have to conduct primaries or at what level before you get to the convention, recognize the constitution of the party. Does the constitution of politics give room for further or national?
Their responsibility to overseeing the activities of political party is not restricted by any other agency or co-handled by any other agencies. So the commission must be up and doing to be able to clear thought or clear process and remove themselves from the politics of parties, remove themselves from the politics of Nigeria, and use the bureaucracy, which they are supposed to be able to be the oil that lubricates the machinery that brings out the processes that will make sure that party discipline, party processes are adhered to by those who are party members, registered and recognized. Because the constitution is clear how party works. Is that the Nigerian will have a right to political party and be a registered of just one political party, and then the party will sponsor a candidate.
Musa, who is also joining us on the same issue. Mr. Musa, if you can hear me, earlier on I asked you on the interpretation of judiciary when it comes to internal party crisis. I wanted to go back to those issues you raised, because like Peter Ive just mentioned now, there is a need for streamlining the functions of especially the umpire body when it comes to party issues. Now give us your own take on this interference, because most persons now will tell you that it's as if courts are now running political parties. Every issue they have, they run to court. Every issue they have, they run to court. It means the function of the party or the internal way of handling internal parties issues is now left for legislations, or rather courts. Let me get Musa.
Thank you for having me once again. So my position on this matter is that every party has their rules and regulations, their constitution, by which they are bound. And in determining their party structure, they ought to abide by the regulations of their own constitution or their own rules. And the court is in certain instances precluded from interfering in internal party affairs. However, when in abiding by their rules or constituting their structure, they fail to abide by national laws and regulations that is outside their own party regulation, the court has the right to intervene in such circumstances. In this case, there are certain issues that bedeviled the convention held in Ibadan. First of all, there were court judgments that the convention should not be held. The law is tried that a court judgment, no matter how useless in the sight of any of the parties, must be obeyed. If you, no matter how you feel that the court judgment was not justly delivered, whatever you feel about a decision of a court of competent jurisdiction, insofar as there's a judgment, you must obey that judgment. There were judgments given by Honorable Justice Lifu, judgment delivered by Honorable Justice James Omotosho, and the Turaki-led faction failed to obey these judgments. Secondly, by the provisions of Section 82 of the Electoral Act, there ought to be a 21-day notice to INEC for a party who intends to hold a convention. The Turaki-led faction failed to issue that 21 days notice. And so, when you look at these procedural blunders, the court, whenever the right of party members have been informed, the court have the right to intervene in the party affairs, especially as there is that there is an infringement or a breach of the provisions of the Electoral Act, which is not an act within the control of the PDP So you cannot say that that is their internal party. So while it is my position that, and my aspiration, that opposition parties put themselves together, solidify their structure in order to combat and withstand the ruling party for the benefit of our democracy, I posit that in doing so, the opposing political parties must ensure to abide by the rules and regulations so that they do not set themselves up to be trapped by the provisions of the law. What we are seeing in this case, not to be sentimental, if we must not be sentimental, the Turaki-led faction has made several legal blunders and miscalculations that has put them in the position that they are currently. While many Nigerians are in a position because of the precedent that this government has laid in trampling upon the rights of other Nigerians, other opposing parties. Many Nigerians are of the position that they may have been biased duly internal parties that at the point of the law have been legal blunders and miscalculation on the part of the Turaki-led faction.
Okay, I guess that is where we may have to let you go, Barrister Abdulkarim Musa, because of our time. Thank you so much for your interpretation of this issue to the political thought to this Barrister Musa.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's return to Ahmed, if you're staying there. I want to know now, what is the implication of this whole saga, especially when it comes to the strength of political and as it's about most has had a thing. What's one of versus weekend faction to belie for the interests of the ruling party, that's the AP. Why the party itself will argue that they still have structures in what area and all that. Today we saw State Governor Pin to the APC as it stands now. I'm not sure PDP has up to 2 governors apart from Bala Makinde. What's the opposition party for a democratic state like Nigeria?
It weakens our democracy. It weakens our democracy in a lot of ways. When you have, you don't have balance of power when it comes to political party administration in Nigeria, whether in opposition and in government. Because the essence of opposition is to be able to share light on the activities of government, whether they are impacting on the lives of our people positively or negatively, so that you can bring this life to reality. The Nigerian citizen can see what action need to be and reflect on that, and then offer opposing views to policies we are deep into if the opposition. And the reason why our founding fathers of the 1999 Fourth Republic was very visionary by creating a multi-party democratic system is so that people will have choice. You remove choice, and when opportunity to get yourself into whatever party that interests you is taken away, then inclusivity is also affected. So what they are doing is not good for the long run of our democratic governance. We can tell you this. Some of us had the opportunity to become party chairman, IPAC secretary, a lot of other things, and sit on the table with giants of this country because there was multi-party democracy. And that's what it does, is to level the space between the poor and the rich. And that's why Gani Fayami went to court with Balare Musa when INEC was attempting to charge fee for registration of political party, that we further restrict the child of the ordinary man from having the opportunity necessary to be part of a political party management system. And today they have come through the back door. They are also charging 2 million right now and the new electorate was trying to increase it to 50 million naira. So these are part of the embracing on anti-democratic decisions that is currently going on, that will not let our democracy to deepen to a point that it will get to the rural communities, that will create opportunity for everybody to be part of the discussion, and for the fact that the government is using all agents, fifth columnists within political party to undermine the strength of political party is no longer a discussion. It's a reality. It's something that we see. It's something that we all know, because you can't look at the way judgments are being given by courts about parties, even when the judgment is clear. INEC will say they are still studying. INEC took about close to 1 year to study the Supreme Court judgment about Labour Party. So this challenge is that there's a state arm twist process that they are being used through the back door to make sure that opposition parties are weakened. But I don't really blame only the government. I also blame the docility of those who are participating in the process, who think that government belongs to those in government. Those in government are actually servant to those outside government, because you put yourself forward before the people and you said you want to serve and do for and protect the interests of the people, only for you to get there and protect your own interests. So the people must be proactive. They must stop being reactionary. They must stop looking for self-help and for help to fall from above to rescue this democracy. This democracy was given to us so that we can have a voice, so that we can have a right to expression, a right to participation, and the right to be involved in the governance of our country. If you keep political party as it's known today...
Before I let you go, because of one sort of time, do you see any... Well, yesterday, the Minister of the FCT was calling for reconciliation, for the party open doors for both parties from both sides to come back together. Do you see that happening in the shortest possible time? Because the PDP will be holding its convention very soon. I think this month, 29th and 30th of March. Would that affect the Taraki's camp going to Supreme Court? Or do you see the ability of the party reconciling outside the court's room? In 30 seconds, as we wrap up.
It's a great gift for the wicked to tell everybody to put their sheath their sword and come to their own end. He has the advantage as they speak today. INEC will listen to them. The court has taken decision in their favor. So these are political statements usually made by people who have taken advantage of the system, to entrench their supporters into power. So, but if the Iraqi government committee decide to go to the Supreme Court, I don't think anything will change, because the court will continue to. I am not the court, but in their wisdom, they will know what to do. But at the end of the day, I think, in my own humble opinion, that the court will continue to look at that the disregard for the court by not honoring the judgment and decision reached by Justice Omotosho and Justice Peter Lifu will constitute a stumbling and roadblock to the Iraqi-led National Executive Committee opportunity to regain their authority to manage the party.
Thank you so much for joining us, Peter, and former chairman IPAC. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, we'll go on a quick break, and when we return in Lagos studio for the continuation of the program this morning on Night TV.
Hello and welcome to our Lagos Network studio for the continuation of TMI. I am Patricia Uremu Cabros. This morning we will be discussing, from our Lagos Network studio, we will be discussing the President approves increase in salaries of the military personnel. That's what we're going to be looking at this morning. A lot of questions, a lot of why now, a lot of why waited till this time. Anyway, I don't want to say that by myself. I have a guest in the house who is going to be doing justice to this with me this morning, and I have Mr. Tony Nwaje. Mr. Tony Nwaje is a political analyst. Thank you, Mr. Tony.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you for coming, as always.
Thank you.
This is a very important topic we're going to be discussing this morning. The President has just approved the increase in salaries of military personnel. And a lot of people are asking, why now? Is there a political undertone to this?
If you check it out, though, I don't blame the people who are asking that question, because the average Nigerian politicians these days don't just give you something, without gaining something in return. Because of that trust deficit that has been there over time. So every move they make, the people scrutinizes it. Ordinarily, I don't see anything, wrong in it. But taking care of our military men. People, I've read a lot. I've heard people too saying because the election is close by, the president is trying to buy the military, or the last military coup that happened. Yeah, that's the opinion anyway. But me, I'm looking at it from a broader perspective. These are military men, who are sacrificing a lot for the nation. While we go to bed, they battle terrorism, they fight banditry, and they keep our nation safe. So if you look at it from that perspective, without, embellishing it with politics, it's not a bad idea. It would be a bad idea if the president is taking advantage of the military, because of politics, because truly, majority of the things that the president is doing these days, always been laced with politics, and that's why that's the angle the people are looking. Few people are looking at that. Why now? Election is in January. Suddenly, he called the head of military to Aso Rock for interfaith breaking of fast, and then I will increase your. And then again, I looked at it. What he said, we're going to increase. For me, implementation matters. So let's just put that aside. Politicians should always factor in the people. That trust is important, because if the trust was there, all these insinuations will not arise in the first place. It's not a bad step for the leadership, for the government to say, these guys come. You guys are doing a lot for the country. I think it's time. I think it was during Yar'Adua's time that the military salary was actually increased, as in real terms, not just political.
Okay, it's the same question, probably I should say it in a different way. The military salary has been really bad. We see the military personnel, the young officers, come out on air to talk about how they're suffering, how their salary can't even take them home. Why didn't the president look into it at the time? Why now? That's what.
That's what I'm saying. That's why that's fear. That's why that's speculation. That's why
it's political.
People are feeling. Just do it first. Again, why now? But it's never too late though. If he's saying it now and he's doing it, there's a difference between I'm going to do it and I've done it. Because this is not the first time. He just said it was during Yar'Adua's time that a president actually said we're going to do this for the military, and it was done. In terms of salary increment, welfare, housing, our military should be earning like a corporal should be earning like, say, at least 250,000, because they are committing a whole lot. Nigeria is at war now. We may not want to admit it, but soldiers are being killed every day. These days, those days you hear about recruits being killed. People at the lower cadre are being killed. But now you're hearing about Brigadier General, Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel.
Very recently, Lieutenant Colonel was killed, yes.
Being killed. And Nigerians are moving on as if nothing is happening. So they're sacrificing a whole lot. And then the president, it's not about bringing them to breaking of fast. It's what you do that matters in their lives. So I don't know. Just a couple of days here, months ago, we heard about a military coup and all that. And then the president rounded a lot of them up. The military rounded a lot of them up. 2 days ago, I think about 4 days ago, I saw Omoyele Sowore with the wives of those detained military men saying they've not seen their husbands since they were taken. And so they were appealing to the government to at least let us have access to these men. So a whole lot of things are happening around the military at this point. Increasing their salary, taking care of their welfare, and anything that can, better their lives. In a normal crime, they are doing so much, sacrificing for the country. They should have, like, a lot. I don't want to mention, like, free education, free housing. I know most of them, they have barracks.
But the barracks, have you seen the barracks?
It's not enough.
Have you seen the barracks?
Of course, I have seen a lot, so we can actually do more. If it's not tainted with politics, I salute the move of the president. But if it's all about politics, then we're in it again. I've heard a lot of military, because I've read comments, and I've heard a lot of them after the pronouncement was made. No problem. What we're waiting for is implementation.
Yeah.
It's not about saying it. Every day they call it audio salary increase. You've heard past presidents and government say it. What we want to see is, and then what is the current salary first and foremost? I mean, you work out the modalities first before it's, So
before you say it.
It's not about a political statement. It's about the implementation.
It's not about the political
quite a lot
statement.
for the country.
Yes. Okay. In your view, we have just talked about it's not a political statement, it's about doing it because they're doing a lot for the country. But would you say this move is also being intended to strengthen the government's relationship with the armed forces?
It's very important. Government relationship with the armed forces is very, very important. Considering the fact, go back to history. The military were in charge until 1999. And then democracy, the dawn of democracy, and then till date, you cannot take away the military from the governance of this nation. In any country, anywhere around the world, the military is vital. That relationship is what I think the president is trying to maintain. The last coup, initially they call it a coup rumor, then later they admitted.
Yes, accepted.
I guess maybe rattled them, maybe taking things for granted, and maybe he noticed that relationship was not, cordial. So maybe he's trying to rebuild it, because truly you cannot progress without the military. We know what it can do. Forget it. We know what happened in the past, military coups, and then the movement of the capital of Nigeria from Lagos to Abuja. A whole lot. So you cannot detach our history, our military history, from the present democracy. And you know too that the military get back to what we're having today. It was at a point at Salami Abubakar, after taking over from Abacha, the military, that they agreed that I think it's time we let the civilians have this. Knowing fully well their capability, the extent they can go if anything goes wrong politically, you cannot underrate them. So it's always good to have them around you and in good stead. Otherwise, the implication, is very, it can actually predict. But again, I think the president needs to do more, though. Yeah, he needs to do more, because I'm coming to them listening a whole lot of, what's going on in the country at the moment. They need to, I don't want to say more than that, but the present administration needs to do more. Yeah.
More in what sense?
You need to take care of things. Things are not going well with the country at the moment. Things are not going on well with the country at the moment. And a lot of things can happen. A lot of things can be triggered.
But looking at the body language of the present president, do you think he has the tendency to want to correct things the way you're looking at it? Because all we see these days is 2027 elections. Vehicles have started rolling out. On the streets of Lagos, we're seeing the vans of renewed hope, and it looks like campaign has started secretly.
That's why we're saying this. That's why we're discussing this, because people are not like suddenly want to increase the salary of militiamen. Where were you all this period? Because they see the president as everything he does is politics. It's laced with politics from A to Z. And so when you keep doing this, any step you take, I don't know if you play chess, if you take a step, your opponent knows, he will do a calculation like that step you took. There's something about to do. Yeah, so that is what is going. He plays a lot of political chess with Nigerians. He doesn't give without expecting something in return. It's a politics. That's why I said he cannot afford to play that kind of politics. The military, he knows the implication. But the military, they play a very critical role in our democracy. And we know where they are coming from. We know where we departed from them. But we still have them. It's very important to keep them close.
People are also saying, I mean, in some few months ago, a general was killed. We had a lieutenant colonel who was also killed last week, and a whole, young officers that have been killed by the terrorists. And the president has never come out to speak about it. Why is he thinking of increasing the salary now?
Yeah, maybe that's why he's increasing the salary. Some people don't know. Maybe he doesn't know how to go straight to that, but it's okay. Let me talk about the welfare, the housing, and anything that can benefit them. There's no other way you can detach the military, no matter the kind of politics he's trying to play. He's a politician true and true. But then, when you're doing that, please factor in the people who are safeguarding the territorial integrity of this nation, who, while you're sleeping, they are keeping watch over this nation. But no, it's about politics. Everything is not about politics. He's sitting down now. He's okay. Let me use this fasting period to see I can bring in people. All about it is about politics. You cannot govern a nation like that. All the governors are running to a party. That's what you think about all the time. People are being killed every day. There are killings out there. I mean, the price of PMS is rising. Still, the government is not saying anything. They will tell you it's being determined by international market forces. We know. What can you just speak to the people? We know because we're privileged. What about those people across the Federation at the hinterlands that doesn't know this? That they need to know. It's from 800 to... so a lot of things are going to have ripple effect on transportation and cost of foods and services.
I'm going to come to that, Mr. Tony. Honestly, I told myself we're not going to end this program without touching it, so that the viewers out there can understand what's going on. Some within the Nigerian military.
A whole lot. That's again, if they can actually. Right now, what I would have expected the president to say at that point was, okay, whoever's in charge, military, heads of military, in the Army, Air Force, Navy. Okay, please, I expect people to get back to me, or whoever is in charge, within 2 weeks. Let us know how we can. That's what the soldiers want to hear. Yes, the soldiers didn't hear that. What they heard was a political statement from the president. How are we going to? What are the present salary structures how are you going to, what if, for instance, they're earning 80,000, what are you adding to it? It's not 3,000, it's not 5. They want to know. So you bring them and then get back to me within 2 weeks. That is, for me, that's action. That's action. And then when the soldier sees this, you know that the president is serious. It will go a long way in boosting their morale. This is the same country where soldiers at the battlefield are not well fed. You see them every day on social media. They come out to lament. Then the next day, they arrest them and they lock them up forever. I mean, how does that boost their morale to fight the war? You take care of their needs. You send some of them for like 6-7 months, at times a year. At the point they get drained. You're supposed to, occasionally rotate them. So that's, for me, that's their welfare. You take, how much are you giving them daily? And what do they earn daily for all this, deadly mission? They suppose those are the issues. What about insurance? Are they insured? So when you do all this, definitely, and then people will want to join the military.
That's what I'm going to come to. Is that the reason why the youth of today don't want to join the military? Because the military has been announcing it's open. We need, people to sign to the army, especially, and then nobody is.
Nobody, because again, just as they're analyzing it too. The risk factor. To join the military way. This is attractive. Recruit them to loot. You've seen use all the time, so you don't need to sugarcoat. You recruit them to get them killed. Assure them, no, you are not going to get killed because it's in Nigeria. On 500, we have less than soldiers. Is it the police? Another 500. And from all the states up to 2.5. All of them to get Navy, Air Force. Then if you add the pences to protect a nation of over people. So there are no incentives. It's not about getting recruitment to them and then sent to the war front. No, of course, people will not want to join. If that's your intention, if you make it so obvious that that's the reason for recruitment, they won't come. They won't come because they've seen it being done. I've seen people being declared at war. They disappear from battlefront. How do you do it? I expect a change of strategy. Even if you're paying them, you say you want to increase the salary of workers, soldiers. What about the internal dynamics? Are they being handled properly? The commanders most times, within a cozy office, while the soldiers are out there suffering, and then they make a complaint, you put them under the dungeon up, so they cannot complete problem.
It is a big. Actually, let's move on to the welfare improvements. Do you think that this similar welfare improvement should be also extended to other security agencies, especially the police and the civil defense?
The police, it should be, I want to say that, thank God that question came up. So when you're doing this, the Nigerian police handle the internal security system of the country. But these days, since military regime till now, we are trying to depart from the military mentality of governance, but it's still very hard to achieve because all attention are on the military, while less attention on the police.
On the police, yes.
You see, some people say, no, I beg, leave police, we are the police. They don't have the trust in the police. Who do you blame? You blame the government. They've been so decimated. Apart from the police, other paramilitary agencies, civil defense, and all those unknown that they're there doing, ensuring the protection of the country. They equally need to be noticed. What are you doing for them? What is the average salary of a police constable, for instance? It's not about when you say it. It's in the implementation. It's in when they receive their salary at the end of the month and say, thank God, government has actually improved a lot. It's not about saying it. I'm saying because we see this all the time, especially when election approaches.
Why is it so? That's the question for many Nigerians. Why is it so?
Which is very wrong. You see, politicians, they come, but we're not taking lessons. At times, I blame the people, though. Election comes, and we're going to do this road. We're going to give you water. We're going to do this. But the question you're asking them, have they been doing it before?
Where have you been?
You can actually discern that these guys are joking with you. Election is close by. This is March. We're talking about January. We have about 9 months.
9 to 10 months.
Yeah, so you can see they are all doing this thing for election.
Is it supposed to be so?
We should, that is, it's not supposed to be. But it's been recurring all the time. So we're supposed to draw lessons from it as a people. But are we taking lessons? Because they take advantage of this time and they succeed. And they can't be succeeding. When they keep succeeding all the time, then you shift the blame to the people. At what point are you going to start reasoning and saying enough is enough from these people? Gone are the days when information are being micromanaged by government media agencies. But now we have it at your fingertips. So what excuse do you have again? So when they come and they succeed, sometimes you don't blame them. Election comes, I want to do this. You see, very soon they're going to call the heads of police. And the president might actually say the same thing. We're going to look at the salary increase the salary of policemen and other civil defense. You may do it anytime, but it shouldn't continue like this. You don't need an election or close to election. You don't need people to insinuate that what the move you're making is because of election. You can do this before election. You can do it far before election.
What in your own view would you say stops our politicians from doing this before the elections? If they can do it towards the elections, that means the money is available. Why can't they do it?
They can't even do it. Even without this promise, I've just told you, it was the elder of blessed memory that did it. They won't do it because corruption will allow it. And they get away with things. We need a handsome president who is going to say, we're going to buy this. And he calls the person the next day. Have you done this? What have you, follow up. You take them out, you take them unawares at times. Because if you don't do that, you know how bureaucracy works. You said it. And it goes. And then the media comes and says, you said this 5 months ago. How far with it? And then he calls maybe the chief of staff. It's true. Do you say, yes, Mr. President. So then I call the minister responsible. Say, we're doing it. You're doing what? 6 months ago. Because they know you're not going to do anything. There are no timelines set. You're not giving them targets. So everybody carries on. Like what happened under Buhari's regime, that a minister stays for complete 8 years doing nothing. And you're watching Nigerians are complaining. Nigerians are complaining that these guys are not doing anything. You still retain them for 8 years. I've never seen it. A minister, redundant ministers, 8 years. If I'm a president, for instance, I'm opportune to be on that seat. For 2 months, and
for the late president, may he so rest in peace. In his case, he will come out to say, "Oh, I didn't know this was going on.
That's what I'm saying.
This was happening."
Because you don't have a hands-on president, somebody who is just there. The system just provides. You hardly see presidents in Nigeria who actually prepared for it to say, "I want to be president of this country. I have what I want to do for it." Look at it everywhere. I will do this in housing. I will do this, and I've been preparing this for the past 10 years. You hardly see them. What you see, some people have arranged. This person is going to be a president. This person is going to be a governor, and that's why the country is like this. You hardly see people who are actually genuinely prepared,
for the job.
To say, I'm prepared for it, and from day one, you start seeing action.
From a political standpoint, could this decision influence the stability of civil-military relationships in Nigeria?
Yes. Why not? If it's genuine, again, if it's genuine, yeah, because when you walk, you eat. People what do they say? Where person they walk, might be workshop or something. You know, so that's where. And so when you go out in the morning, and you tell your family, I will see you later in the day, they're expecting that something will come back with you in return. I mean, when you return in the evening. But when it's the other way, you go out in the morning happy, and you come back sad, and your children are asking you, the problem is that the economy is having a toll on me. My workplace, I mean, how do you expect it to boost your morale? How do you want to contribute? How do you intend to do that? I mean, it's very difficult. But when you take care of them, that relationship, it will blossom. You can see it. The nation will grow because you affect every other. I mean, because it cannot be at this point only the military. If you can take care of the military, of others. It does, yeah. So you see, it will affect your government. Everything will work in sync. Everything will work well, and the people will benefit from it. It's simple. It's simple. It's logic. It's simple logic. Do the right thing. Everything should not be politics. Trust. Let your people trust you. If you say you're going to do it, please do it and remove politics around. Don't listen to politics.
Okay, let's quickly deviate a little. I want us to deviate a little before we go. I mean, my time is almost up. I want to talk about the fuel. I was driving to the office this morning and I stopped by at the NNPC office and I bought fuel for 1,230 something naira. And the fuel attendant said to me, if you have money, fill up your tank. I was like, how much will that be? I don't even have that. So I left him. And as I was driving to the office, I was thinking, because he said to me, it might get to 2,500. Is there really nothing that our government can do? I mean, because this is also very effective negatively on the people of Nigeria. I mean, the cameraman told me this morning that where he used to go with 500 naira coming to the office, yes, he paid 700 as at this morning, and then by tomorrow it will increase. Quickly, what do you think the federal government should do?
That is where I think, you know, when we abdicate our responsibility as a government, we have our own national refinery, NNPC. What you hear all the time was turn around, until Dangote came. It is private. Good. You deregulate the sector, but the government must still have a buy in it. So where is our NNPC? Where is Nigerian refinery? Because when things like this happen, that's where government comes in and says, okay, NNPC, now that it's international, because we have our own crude here, we sell them. We don't import, we sell them. So we can actually work with what we have. So at this point, NNPC step down the price. Why Dangote, who's a businessman, reacting to international market price? We want to do it that way. You, because of our people, cushioning effect of this on our people, because it's going to have the ripple effect. Can NNPC please sell at
Good morning. This is TMI Socials. Welcome on board. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. Or better still call me a social media butterfly. Now, this morning we begin in Abuja, where yesterday we saw on socials that a section of the office of the head of the civil service of the Federation building in Abuja was gutted by fire on Monday, March 9th. The cause of the fire was yet to be ascertained as of the time of this report. The fire outbreak caused heavy traffic congestion around the Federal Secretariat, forcing many commuters to trek to their destinations. Now, viral videos on social media platforms, especially X, formerly Twitter, showed a dense black smoke rising from one wing of the structure, reportedly located at Section C of the building within the Federal Secretariat complex. Let's take a look.
See when they go stage, they drag pipe. They are dragging pipe. Where they must, where they don't supposed to get access, we have got a generator. Lock everywhere.
There's no stand by
by the road here.
There's no need going inside.
These are the things that by the road here. Where those people is push up. You don't block everywhere to the. For where we get sense. I'm just supporting what you are saying. I'm just supporting what you are saying. Block everywhere. What is supposed to come around the whole building? That's how it's supposed to be.
Well, reacting to this online, trust netizens to take to the street of social media to vent their reaction. To start off with this one, RNX, who wrote, if core departments like pension and audit are affected, this could cause major disruptions in government agencies. Another user reacting on X, this one wrote, another $2 million to repair the damaged office? Really? Well, this is according to this guy on social media. Kamzi Cool says, they want to budget billions to renovate it. That's the strategy. It's a shame you can't find any prompt firefighters. Now, finally on the story, this user wrote, evidence or indicting documents successfully get rid of. All right, away from that, hashtag Dangote was trending online yesterday, as we did see that the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has increased the gantry price of premium motor spirits to 1,175 naira per litre, marking the third upward adjustment in petrol prices within 7 days. Now, the latest revision communicated to marketers and depot operators on Monday raises the ex-depot price from 995 naira per litre announced last week Friday by 180 naira, representing an 18.1% surge in 3 days. Now let's take a listen to the MD of Dangote Refinery. Yesterday he had a press briefing right there, and let's listen to him.
What are we doing? We are fully exposed to the international commodity market. That needs to be widely understood. We purchase, even under the Crude for Naira program, we purchase Nigerian crude from the Nigerian government at international benchmark-related prices. We then pay international freight rates and international insurance rates in order to bring that crude from the terminal to the refinery. That's about 30–35% of our crude intake, as I've mentioned in previous meetings. However, we're designed around Nigerian crude, so we actively seek additional Nigerian crude cargoes. We buy those on the open market in US dollars. Historically, that's often changed through multiple traders' hands.
Now, to let you know that this actually is a global tradition that is going on currently in Nigeria. As yesterday we saw online a video that has now gone viral of a queue right there in the UK with persons queuing for fuel. Take a look. Moving over to how you reacted to this, let's start off with this user who wrote online. This user says, Nigeria's budget is dollar and oil benchmarked. Global shocks can raise government revenue while hurting citizens, since fuel prices are now market linked with little consumer protection. We are already seeing the ripple effect across all sectors. Another user on X reacting to this story, this one wrote, as a struggling Nigerian driver burning 50K per week on fuel just to survive, this Dangote MD statement is pure heartbreak. You buy our own Nigerian crude at a full international benchmark price, then add global freight and insurance cost before refining it here. We produce the oil, suffer oil spills and soot in Delta, lose our farms, yet we're we pay premium like this to international bodies just to complete that. Now, finally, this user wrote, definitely it is not your making, dear Dangote Refinery. If it were in your power, fuel could sell for less than 500 naira a liter. I do not have any iota of doubt so far. Gracefully gracious reporting right there. Away from that, let's talk politics. As yesterday we saw a dramatic twist right there in Zamfara State with Zamfara State Governor Dawuda Lawal. He has defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressive Congress, the APC. Now, the development was confirmed yesterday in a statement issued by the government media aide, Nuhu Naka, who said the defection followed his principles engagement with party leaders, elders, and supporters in this state. According to him, the governor's decision was influenced by the internal challenges within the PDP at both the national and state levels. Now let's take a look at the moment the PDP, the APC flag was actually on right there in Zamfara. Take a look. And here is the moment the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State made the announcement yesterday. Take a look. Interesting times ahead in our political scene right here in Nigeria. But moving over to your tweets and reactions, we'll start off with this one who wrote on X. So Dauda has not taken a lesson from Matawale's defection to the APC and still lost the election. Okay, I think I'll need Mr. Musa to help me out on that one. Away from that, Legends wrote, politics in Nigeria keeps changing every day. What matters most is that this move should truly benefit the people of Zamfara, especially in terms of security and development. Now, finally, this user on X wrote, Legend, party change is easy, but the real question is, will it bring peace and progress to Zamfara? The people are watching. Now, away from Zamfara, let's go over to Lagos, Nigeria, where yesterday we saw in a video the moment a school containing 600 to 700 children collapsed during school hours right there in Ogba, Lagos State. Take a look. Well, interestingly, nobody was hurt, as we did hear reports that they got evacuated minutes before the disaster. But how did you take this online? Let's have tweets and reactions. We'll start off with this one who wrote, buildings don't just collapse. Someone somewhere ignored standards and innocent people almost paid the price. Another user reacting to this viral video wrote, this is why building safety should never be compromised. Thankfully, no lives were lost. Now, finally, on the story, this user says, if we could have the final tweet, this one wrote, Thankfully, everyone escaped, but this shows the urgent need for street building safety enforcement in schools. Absolutely. Well, on this note, we get a wrap up TMI Socials. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I am Anuoluwakbo Stevens. And from all of us on This Morning on ITV, Lagos, Abuja, and right here in Adel State, please stay safe.
ITV, certainly the best.
Omonoba Nedu Ukwakolopolo, Ewai II, Oba of Benin, stepped out majestically with loud crowd to perform the Soto rites of his late mother, Queen Mother Ioba Omoni Ikoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, who departed this world 49 years ago. Isoton is a traditional rite of the procession in memory of the departed person's spirit in Benin Kingdom. It is usually heralded by public display of the departed person's influence during their sojourn on earth. The display of a human effigy symbolizing the departed royal matriarch was preceded by the Oba of Benin, who led the procession from his palace to the Immortal Shrine at King Square in Benin City, where he offered prayers for the repose of the soul of the Queen Mother, Ioba Ewai II. Thereafter, the priest assigned to the Immortal Shrine offered Oba Ewai II items for Isoton on behalf of his family. However, chalk, known as Uri, represented a mixture from royal fans after ancestral spirits were invoked to bear witness and announce his arrival. On his way home, Oba Ewai paid tributes at various pilgrimage sites, including Queen Idia Tomb, the side Oba Market, where a cheerful crowd of traders abandoned their wares to catch a glimpse of the royal personage and join in the celebration.
ITV, certainly the best.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari yari, Oba Tope! Yari yari,
The Oba of Benin added a colorful mood to the year's celebration as he walks round the city center amidst cheers.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves after each day of farming. It is also relevant in our coronation in Africa. It is a sport and indeed very interesting, as every seed had a role in the game. Playtime is 45 minutes per set. There is no age limit as long as you can spin Aqua seed. Ayo or Aqua game, known as the game of intellectual. This game requires a lot of mathematical skills. Aqua game is played with carved wooden box containing 12 holes.
ITV, certainly the best.
Hello viewers, welcome to Viewpoints on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji, and today on Viewpoint we're going to be talking about the current electricity issues and situations that we as business owners, as individuals, are facing in Nigeria, as over 80% of households lack adequate access to grid, as Nigeria's electricity sector suffers from chronic liquidity trap and infrastructural decay, leading to frequent national grid collapses. with generation dropping below 4,200 megawatts, far short of the 4,000 megawatts required for its citizens and population. It is a viewpoint on ITV, and we're going to be looking at some of the key issues affecting our electricity sector in Nigeria. I am Caroline Okonji.
In terms of security of it, we need light. And based on that, in some areas, it makes it difficult for us when we are on patrol at night. And we are even begging the state government to try and do something, at least by supplying street lights in some area that are dark in the night. In most cases in our community, there are places that is very dangerous, that without light we cannot do anything of such. For so doing, we want, as a matter of urgency, the Edo State government to try and do the needful so that the security will be okay for us, so that we can be able to work effectively.
The issue of NEPA issue that you came from is very rapid to us in the sense that the NEPA look as if we are not a citizen of Nigeria, because since a month there's no light in us. We have been passing through. Which NEPA, anytime they came, a minute or 30 minutes to, they will come and bring the light to us. That is, we are not expecting them to come and collect their bill. Indirectly, we are expecting bill from them to come and collect. Within that hour or 2 hours, you will see a number of people with a LiDAR. They will come. They will come. And after their collection, there's nothing like light again. They will block us up. I think before we have this light, they mandated us to buy a meter, which we bought individual. We pay through the NDC, we have our transformer here, not through NEPA. Before we got out this light, they mandated us to write an application of submitting it to the NEPA as a will to them. And we work for it. And we should not claim ownership. And we fought for the transformer. And after that, again, they came that there is no oil in it. We pay up to 1 point something again. Before, after all that, they came up again, said it was meter issue again, that every community, every houses have to have a meter, which we did. We have to. I have my own receipt. I have my paper meter in my residential house here. So after all that again, they came up with a past bill. We, before we make that transformer, got that transformer, we've been glass out for 10 years here. They came with a bill to us again that we need to pay a standing bill. We went to Testament, the office there. After we left the one at the bypass, they were delivering us before they now refer us to the one at bypass. I don't want to mention name of the manager there. Got in there again, he said we have to go for all those things, we need to fulfill all those things, which we did. After that, they now on the light for us. As they on the light, not up to a month, we were still in blackout again. So at the end of it, we went again, they said it was according to them, that the electric wiring merge. That was the cause that they now cut us off again from EOY again, which we not pay. Pay that amount again. The Chile community, which is the Kabetu, Igbo and Igwekimi. After that, they brought a light for a week again. After a week, they cut us off again. They said EOY is owing. We now went to the office again and told them that if EOY is owing, does that mean it affects our community? We are blackout. through authorities. So before we sort all those things out. We have already made up our mind. We can do away with our NEPA. When our father was living with a lamp and all these things, we were enjoying it. We cannot be paying for what we are not using. We cannot be paying for what we are not using. So if they feel they want to cut us off from this NEPA issue, they should cut everybody off totally so that we will know that we are not with NEPA. Not that after 3 weeks, they will not bring a light under 2 hours or 3 hours. They will come and collect their money. It's unfair to the masses.
The electricity issues and challenges that BEDC in the state is devastating, in the sense that as a minister, I suffer a lot in terms of electricity. As an individual, not only me, the entire people of Edo State, and not only in Edo State, Nigeria as a whole, we are really facing electricity challenge in the country, in the sense that we are not getting constant light. Even though the tariff of electricity is high, people don't even get the light. I don't know how the government will enhance constant light for the Nigerian people, especially in Edo State here. We are seeing the government are not taking a proactive step towards this direction. But if the government will be able to ensure that people are paying for electricity and they are not getting electricity, government should take a drastic step in this direction by making sure if people have constant light, people will want to pay for it. But a situation where you don't see light, at the end of the month, you see BEDC personnel coming to people's house to come to cut lights, is really a problem. My major concern is that let them provide us electricity and people will pay for it. But a situation whereby we don't have constant light, out of 24 hours, people cannot boast of 3 hours light in a day. It's a problem that we are really facing. People who are doing business cannot do business effectively. People who are doing business, they want to make sure their food stuff does not get spoiled. Nobody can preserve their food again. Even though they cook, you cannot preserve it. Even though electricity for our artisans to work, they cannot get electricity to empower their equipment in order to boost productivity for the entire society. It is really a problem. The state of electricity in our country, in our state, is very poor. Very, very poor. We don't know how government is creating effectiveness on this aspect. We say Nigeria is generating electricity and the neighboring are getting electricity, and the people that are in this country are not benefiting it. Nigerians, we are crying. As a person, I am crying. We don't say as an individual we don't want to pay for electricity. We are not saying that they should give us light for free, but let them make light available and let people pay for it.
They often tell us the national grid is collapsed. So ultimately, it's to develop enough capacity, the whole process of generation, distribution, and the rest of it. And then the enabling law. The happy thing recently is that they have said it's deregulated. You know, state governments and private investors can now enter the electricity market, generate and sell. So we do hope that will be a great deal of improvement, because without electricity, really, we are going to remain in the Stone Age. You know, we cannot industrialize. Even domestically, we cannot have the comfort we should derive from electricity. You know, we should consider all the options, whether the new sources like wind, solar in our country so that we're able to generate enough for our consumption. The darkness is a cover for any kind of nefarious activity. Yeah, so if the place is not well lit or substantially lit up, people can ordinarily hide under the cover of darkness to perpetrate just anything, not just robbery, kidnapping, and whatever you have. Yeah. Don't also forget that we now have private investors. The government doesn't have so much to do with electricity anymore, apart from regulation. So they also have to maximize their profit. So it may have been a mistake in the first instance, divesting from electricity at the level of government.
Let me talk about the state where I live, where I reside. The total blackout is nothing to write up about. We really suffer when it comes to light. Edo is suffering. I think our governor is trying to, we have to do more. Our Excellency, Senator Monde, our governor of Edo, executive governor, you have to do more when it comes to that light issue. We are suffering. There are some of us who can provide electricity for ourselves, solar and all that. Maybe a generator, this was the case, but not everybody. And so at this junction, I think it is expedient that our governor looks straight into this issue and solve this problem. What would I call it? I don't know the right English to use. The right English right now, we have serious problem when it comes to light. Businesses are going down. Those selling drinks, those who have koro, without generator, you can't do anything. And the J is on the high side. Those small jewelry, those are better past our neighbor used to buy them 30,000, 10,000. Now you can't buy it. Then the other one is the Tiger and the LMX, 1 point something for ordinary generator. So it doesn't make any sense at all. So begging on our executive governor, the governor that knows what to do, to please to look into us and save us from darkness. Then when it comes to these funny BDC people, we're raising a child that came from the US and the others. The first thing they learned in Nigeria is NEPA don't bring light. Children brought from abroad. NEPA don't bring light. Can you imagine such? And so these funny people, 2 days, they'll bring the light, on and off for 2 days. The next thing they'll come with their estimated billing. They start dragging people, wires and all that. It's high time. I think it's high time we stand our ground and let them know that we're not fools. We are Nigerians. We all own this nation. It belongs to nobody. It belongs to nobody and it's for everybody. We should stand our ground and fight for our rights. This year, but may they pack, may they go. NEPA still better pass. You can't go out at night when there is no light. The security issue. Is what the government is trying. I cannot chrome them in one day, but we individual too. Like the police used to say, see something, say something. But sometimes when you say something, they use it as a bait, and so we need to. Edo State government need to give us security as well. Nightlife in Benin is almost gone, but I also want to say kudos to our governor. For the first time, December free of bloodshed. It was wonderful. December, look, we have most of our people in Nigeria right now, those living in diaspora, those living abroad. Many of them came December and this January. And, they came and they're enjoying it. So I believe our excellent governor, our excellency can do more about that to give us more security like those travel. If you're traveling from Benin to Akure, Benin to Ifon, those roads are no-go area at night. You can't date. So I believe with all hands on deck and our governor and the police, our CP, let's hope and pray for our action governor to do something about insecurity.
ADDC, since they came in, I don't think they have done well by my own assessment. And darkness is synonymous with demonic things. And they have thrown their city into darkness, Benin City, Edo State as it were, is in darkness. And I think that the government should step into the matter to do something about the situation. Because the way I look at it is that, for me, I think it is deliberate. Because there are some areas that have light, they call it dedicated light. So why can't everybody have the same light? Because there are areas for 2 weeks no light, for 1 month no light. Some people have 3 hours a day. Some people have 1 hour. And if they bring light in this 20 years, people shout, hey, they'll be saying up NEPA instead of up BEDC, which is BEDC. So the thing is that government should step in and help us. People are dying, and most people are paying for darkness. They go there, they threaten people, they bring light when it is wanted for 3 days, 2 hours, 3 days, they come and collect money and they shut it down again. So I think the government should step in. If they are going to be thrown out, they should be thrown out and bring people who can give us light, who are ready to pay. It was privatized. That was a good intention by government, but the people that did it, I'm sure they gave it to their cronies who does not know anything about the management of light, and that's why we are where we are. It has really hampered nightlife because you don't work in darkness, and the only thing that is helping us now is this solar that people put everywhere, and some persons that have money to buy diesel and buy fuel. It's not everybody that have that kind of money. So it has really disturbed or hampered nightlife. But government is trying to bring it back by putting street light and everything. So we commend them. We pray that God will give government more power, more strength, more wisdom to do what they have to do. And there's individuals are also trying by helping to lighten up everywhere. So we praise them. But for BEDC, I think they should go. Make better people.
The situation of electricity in Benin here now, I will give them at least 30%. They don't give up to 50% from area. But I wish the government can improve, because if you see what they happen to us now, we all they use our hand to define electricity. Some of us they go generator for us, some of us they get solar, some of us they go generate big blister. All these people get like hotel. So I wish the government they really improve for electricity. All those generators will become condemned for our hand. You understand? So people no go they go for it. And money now they need to input, because that energy, that light will really need that. If light dey for this, imagine if you come for here for Silok Road now, government already put light, but in the evening everywhere will be dark. So where there is light, everything, even the security aspect of itself, anything concerning light is too plenty. Maybe one particular thing. So we need light. If I come out for office now, if light no dey, we must buy generator. At least from office I dey buy at least, if I'm not mistaken, 5,000 every day for sure. Imagine a times 1 month, na big money. Until now money. From there I will come see look at this make we come here say we come dey go for solar. Make we use solar take stabilize am, because solar dey give us more, make savings from the fuel aspect of it. So if you get light, nothing like light, your light can carry AC, can carry everything for us. And to the noise, no go even give you that noise issue. So we prefer light more than any other thing.
The light is our problem. We are suffering for light. You can see our business without light, we cannot improve. We need light. The show of light is because it's very, very, very low. I don't know if you're getting it, very low. We need light. The show of light in Edo State is very poor. Patronage is very low. You can see we import fuel at least every day 10,000, 15,000 a day. But you can stay 2 days, 3 days, no light. The show of business is very, very, very low. Very low. So we are begging government to improve the light aspect. That light, you cannot sell bulb, you cannot sell fan. You understand? When you have light, you prepare to buy fan. Not everybody can provide solar for his house. Actually, we need light.
Electricity in Benin City or in Edo State has been with mixed feelings, because to some they will give the positive nod that they are faring well with the supply of electricity, but with some become so epileptic of recent. Me personally, I have discovered that we are not paying for what we get, or we don't get what we pay for. The reason being that the regulatory body that's supposed to task the BEDC are not doing enough to satisfy a customer by way of ensuring that you get what you pay for. For those who are using prepaid meter, there are reports that suggest that even the prepaid meter is even overbilling or overcharging consumers. As against what the government is telling us. Only recently we discovered that the BDC keep complaining that the generation company is not supplying them what they ought to get, which will in turn affect the consumer. And even at a point, they also raise the issue of federal government owing them. But just recently, the federal government has paid a huge sum of money to liquidate what they are owing this distribution company. But looking at the experience of consumer in terms of the electricity supply, it is so appalling. They will either give you excuse of faulty transformer, which they left for the consumer to contribute money to fix, whereas it is supposed to be the onus of BDC to fix the transformer so that they can in turn supply electricity to the consumer who pay for that service. It's like you are buying a recharge card. I am not sure that the recharge card you buy is what they give you. It varies from quarter to quarter. It varies from consumer to consumer. For example, for those who have been using the analog or the estimated billing, you will discover that whatever they bring, which is not subject to negotiation,